Please call the roll.
Morning, Mayor. Max.
Here.
Rubio.
Here.
Ryan.
Here.
Gonzalez. Wheeler.
Here. We'll hear from legal counsel now on the rules of order and decorum.
Thank you, Mayor. Welcome to the Portland City Council. To testify before council in person or virtually, you must sign up in advance on the council agenda at www.portland.gov/council/agenda. Information on engaging with City Council can be found on the council's clerk's webpage. The presiding officer preserves order and decorum during City Council meetings. The presiding officer determines the length of testimony. Individuals generally have 3 minutes to testify, unless otherwise stated. A timer will indicate when your time is done. Disruptive conduct, such as shouting, refusing to conclude your testimony when your time is up, or interrupting others' testimony or council deliberations, will not be allowed. If you cause a disruption, a warning will be given. Further disruption will result in ejection from the meeting. Anyone who fails to leave once ejected is subject to arrest for trespass. Additionally, council may take a short recess and reconvene virtually. Your testimony today should address the matter being considered. When testifying, state your name for the record. Your address is not necessary. Disclose if you're a lobbyist. If you're representing an organization, please identify it. For testifiers joining virtually, please unmute yourself once the council clerk calls your name. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. And colleagues, just a point of interest here. Two of us have excused absences this morning at different times. And so what I'd propose we do is after the communications, the consent agenda, and the time certains, then we'll move all of the emergency ordinances to the front of the regular agenda consideration, just so we can make sure we keep our quorum for those emergency ordinances. With that, we'll start with communications. First individual, please, Keelan, item number 985.
Request of Don Bach to address council regarding issue on Capitol Hill Road in Hillsdale Town Center. It doesn't look like Don has joined us. Oh, sorry, Mayor, I think you were muted. Did you want to?
Sorry, 986.
Thank you. Request of Alan Combs to address council regarding ordinance enforcement.
Good morning, Mayor Wheeler and Commissioners.
Morning.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, loud and clear. Thank you.
Very good. All right, thank you. My name is Alan Combs. I've lived in Portland for 22 years. I live in what is now known as District 3. I've spoken to you before. The topic that I put on the agenda was for the communication was for the enforcement of the citywide camping ban. I will get to that in a moment, but I would be remiss if I didn't bring up what I think is the largest humanitarian crisis in the city, and that is its homicide rate. I did look at the statistics after getting back from an extended vacation and saw that Portland is on its way to another year of 90 plus homicides. And I would ask yourselves, for all the resources we are spending on certain things in the city, are we really looking at the right things? And I could point to long-term issues the city needs to grapple with, like adapting for climate, trying to grow, encourage new people to come to the city. But I would ask yourselves, is that not the biggest problem you have in the city today? Those are statistics from the Portland open data source, and the homicide rate was in October. Again, so anyway, back on to houselessness. I believe, although there is an injunction in place, I think the city had not done certain things it said it was going to do. They said there would be a summer of education on enforcing the camping ban. As a citizen, I don't know what that education was, how were safety officers or safety personnel trained on that matter? What is the specific rules of engagement when the camping ban is about to be enforced? As someone who regularly identifies issues in my neighborhood, I don't know what to tell people, I do talk to people, and it is very inscrutable trying to explain the city's policy on how to, maintain safety and common values in common spaces. So I would encourage you in the time you have before this injunction's lifted that you do some communication to the public on this matter and explain what you're doing with safety personnel. You also have the renewal of your agreement with the county, the IGA. I suggest you be very strict with the county on what you're going to demand to get people into temporary alternative shelter sites. That is your main tool to help clear the streets in a humane way. And lastly, I'm going to leave you with a statistic, and that is, a task site per OPB costs upwards of $64,000 a year. That's from Safe Rest Villages or your Gideon Street facility. Your traditional shelter that's indoors is half that cost. What is the difference between those two? The difference is that you don't do drug testing on the indoor sites. And is that really the use of our priorities, to spend that much money just to enable addiction? Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. I've got a couple of responses, and I'll go sort of in reverse order here. First of all, with regard to indoor shelter, we actually did a survey of 600 chronically homeless individuals, and 9 out of 10 said they would not participate or seek an indoor shelter, whereas 6 out of 10 said they would go to a sanctioned campsite similar to a Safe Rest Village or a task site under certain conditions. Those conditions being that there be stability, that there be access to hygiene, toilets, sinks, showers, laundry, things like that, as well as navigation to services. Over the last about 6 months, the city has opened up 500 additional shelter spaces. The majority of those are the task sites. The first task site now has 180 plus residents. About 45 of those residents are now ready for housing. That's because every single individual who goes into one of those sanctioned task sites is assigned case management. They're referred to services that are prioritized for that population, whether it's substance abuse treatment, whether it's mental health treatment, whether it's job training, whether it's access to basic health care, whatever it is. We navigate them, and that model is proving to be very successful. So whereas chronically homeless avoid the indoor congregate shelters, and when they get there, they have staffing of something like 1 to 50, between 1 to 50 and 1 to 100, and not necessarily any reference to any services or case management. It's a very intensive process on the other side. You mentioned the cost. Yes, it is very expensive to be the backstop in a state where we do not have a mental health treatment system or substantial substance abuse treatment services. And so we are filling that gap here at the municipal level, where county and state government has not succeeded in providing those services. I concur. It's expensive to have people come into these facilities to receive treatment and navigation off the streets. But please compare that to the cost of approximately $300 million per year our 26 bureaus are spending on various components of dealing with the manifestations of the homeless crisis in our city. With regard to communications, I could not agree with you more. And I will tell you, we have gone to great lengths to educate predominantly, I will admit, those on the streets about what our enforcement mechanism would be. That includes making sure that we had a legally defensible flyer. We sent out thousands of those flyers through service providers and through outreach to the streets. They are even waterproof so that people would be able to hang on to them. We had several opportunities to go out and explain in person to people what these are, and we have thoroughly informed the media about what our efforts are. We, of course, are not the media. We don't choose what gets communicated or how it gets communicated, but we do the best we can through our social media sites, through our own communications, through our city websites, and of course, through programs like this. Last but not least, I will just tell you that the enforcement piece of our time, place, manner ordinance has been stalled. A court has injuncted against us, and we're working on alternative strategies. But thank you for being here. You're raising great questions, but I just want you to know we're not ignoring them on every question you have asked. I believe we've been extremely active and proactive and unified in our efforts to make sure that those issues are all resolved. Commissioner Maps.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Alan for his comments. I largely agree or share your concerns. However, and you cited, amongst other things, you cited other pressing problems the city has, like homicides. One of the things I wanted to note, and has certainly been rattling around my head as we approach the end of the year, is the actual remarkable progress the city has seen in terms of bringing down homicides. You know, I think I've been on council for about 3 years now, and when I first came in, we were approaching about 100 homicides. In that first year, we set the goal, or at least I set the goal of trying to reduce homicides by 20%. In our first year, we didn't approach that in our first year here, but 3 years later, I believe that we are pretty close to a 20%, if not greater, decrease in homicides. I wish I could take credit for it.
I'm sorry, you're still 3x pre-pandemic levels, and from
Oh, sure.
the statistics I've seen, you're still above cities with comparable size. I'm sorry.
Well,
There was, unless it's adjusted, there were 10 homicides in October. You're not, I don't know what 20% comes from. I'm seeing more like a 10% reduction, and every life matters. But I would ask you, these are horrendous statistics. Non-homicide violent crime is down. I do agree with that.
well, Alan,
Violent non-homicide crime is down. Assaults.
Alan, I agree. I agree with you, and I think we have a vigorous consensus here in that, you know, frankly, one of our top priorities as a city is bringing down homicides, and what I wanted to do in this moment is just to take a moment to recognize everyone on the city team who's been working on this. I think they've made remarkable progress in the last several years, and frankly, we haven't had a moment to really acknowledge that and celebrate that. But I did want to take a moment to highlight that. And I want to thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, and Alan, again, look, we're all in agreement here. Any homicides are too many homicides. But I'll tell you, I'm looking at the latest year-to-date information. So this is comparative 2023 year-to-date versus 2022 year-to-date, January through October. So it does not include November. Gun-related homicides are down 27% year-to-date over last year, and down about 5% over the last 3 years. You are correct. It is nowhere close to pre-pandemic levels, however. Total shooting incidents are down 21% year-to-date over last year. That's about a 10% overall reduction over the last 3 years. So nobody's popping champagne corks here, but at least it looks like we're moving in the right direction. And I like to believe the efforts of the Portland Police Bureau through the enhanced community safety team, the focused intervention team, the increase of patrols, the outreach that this council is invested in through nonprofit partners, and the efforts we're doing around ceasefire, I believe are all starting to take hold. My chief of staff also happened to wander in while we were having the discussion about communications. He said, please do go to our website. There is both information as well as a video explaining the enforcement mechanism, and it's available in 10 different languages. Thank you for being here this morning. Appreciate it. Next individual, please, 987, please, Keelan.
Request of Tony Stecca to address council regarding camping on Oregon Department of Transportation property.
Good morning.
It doesn't look like Tony has joined us.
Very good. 988, next individual, please.
Request of Daniel Leo Ryan to address council regarding business concerns on Southeast Powell Boulevard.
Good morning.
It doesn't look like they've joined us either.
Next individual, 989.
Request of injured pissed off to address council regarding scoliosis.
Good morning.
Is there a microphone?
Yeah.
Thank you, Keelan.
My name's injured and pissed off. I had it legally changed, as you know. The last time I spoke here was June 29th of 2022. And I spoke June 29th of 2023 at the McNelma County Board meeting. I was explaining that this speech is about scoliosis. I found out what was wrong with my spinal cord from the June 22nd or 29th meeting of 2022 that I spoke here, that with 7 dog attacks on my service animal and myself, the hospital took off my neck brace after being up there in the hospital. And they x-rayed me and said that nothing was wrong with my spinal cord. And they were going to discharge me with a pair of crutches. And I go, okay, I can't move. Well, they decided to take more x-rays, as I'd said. And they found out that I'd broke my hip, left hip. Well, that wasn't all that I broke, because I told the paramedics when they put me in the neck brace, I'd heard my back crack twice. And sure enough, after 3 days of standing me up for physical therapy, and all I could do was throw up, but they admitted that I had a spinal cord injury. Well, they didn't tell me because the hospital kept the records, and my attorney at the time, Deborah Kafori's uncle, kept the records, that my spinal cord, they only measure scoliosis from 10% up. And my spinal cord then, they said, was 12% and misalignment. And they told me, they took my x-rays again. I spent 18 days at OHSU, and then earlier this year, another week, 25 days total, but they took some more x-rays of my spinal cord when they realized that they were getting in trouble from risk management and me complaining about my spinal cord injuries, that they took more, and they said that, well, it's still just 12%. Well, they didn't honestly tell me that it was 12%. They wouldn't say that it was scoliosis. And now I don't believe them at all. I know a woman that's had 3 hip surgeries on the same hip from you, and she isn't doing it very well either. She's got to use a rollator. This has been since November 15th of 2010. That's more than 13 years. And I've lived here in the city at my apartment since December 3rd of 2004. That's been 19 years in my apartment, but I've had to fight with the state and county and city and federal government about my injuries and my service animal being attacked. And I hope to sue them someday. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your being here, and I wish you well. Elin, does that complete communications?
Yes.
All right, why don't we move, please, to the consent agenda? Have any items been pulled from the consent agenda?
No items have been pulled.
All right, please call the roll on the consent agenda.
Apps.
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye, the consent agenda is adopted. To the time certain agenda, please. First time certain item number 990, a report.
Appoint Christopher, Jose, Hugo, Hamlin, Augusto, and Hannah Brothman to the Portland Historic Landmarks Commission.
Colleagues, this item is to confirm 2 appointments to the Portland Historic Landmarks Commission. I will now hand it to Commissioner Rubio to introduce the appointees. Commissioner Rubio.
Thank you, Mayor. Colleagues, I'm pleased to bring forward the following appointments to the Portland Historic Landmarks Commission: Christopher, Jose, Hugo, Hamlin, Augusto, and Hannah Brothman in the positions of urban planner and public at large, respectively. Hugo is a city planner for the city of Sherwood and interned with the Bureau of Development Services during his graduate studies at Portland State University. Hugo has a history of dedicated volunteerism and experience working as a public official. His experience previously working for the city means that the learning curve in this new position will be a modest one, and he will be able to help his fellow commissioners navigate our complex zoning code and understand changes to it. As a Latino Oregonian, Hugo is particularly interested in uplifting the history of the Latino community in Multnomah County, recognizing that these stories need to be told as well. The Historic Landmarks Commission has long been a champion of increased diversity in our inventory of historic resources, and the city has increased the diversity of its designated resources in recent years. Hugo understands that there are many different stories to be told and resources to be identified and protected before they are lost, and centering community is critical to preserving history. His appointment is proposed to extend from December 9, 2023 through December 8 of 2027. Now, Hannah Brofman has professional experience in sustainability systems within built environment. Originally from Oregon, Hannah has recently returned after gaining extensive experience working on life cycles of buildings, including historic buildings. The Historic Landmark Commission has long championed the connection between historic preservation and combating climate change, and the reuse of existing resources, including buildings, support the city's goals of limiting waste and carbon emissions. Hannah's experience on the commission will help the commission better articulate this connection. In a time of depressed development, reinvestment in our existing building stock, including conversion of office buildings to residential use, is critical. Her appointment to the commission comes at a time for the city where the realization of the benefits of reinvesting in our existing building stock is more important than ever. Hannah's appointment is proposed to extend from January 5, 2024 through January 4 of 2028. So I'll now introduce Hillary Adam to present these appointments.
Hi, thank you, Commissioner Rubio. Hello, rest of the council. I'm excited to recommend these two appointments, Hugo and Hannah. I've been the liaison for the Historic Landmarks Commission the past 8 years, and we have two long-standing members, Kristen Miner and Matthew Roman, rolling off this month and next month. So Hugo and Hannah will fill those appointments and bring some new vigor and some new ideas to the commission, and I'm excited for their appointments. And so I'll invite Hugo and Hannah to turn on their cameras and offer some words.
Hi, this is Hannah. Can you see and hear me? Just checking. Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for having me. I think that summary was wonderful. I just did return after 15 years in New York City, so I'm excited to kind of bring that I will call it illustrious experience of working in the really complex existing urban landscape, but also with the idea of environmental sustainability with human sustainability. So how do we honor and respect the built spaces that exist, and tie that back to the idea of stewardship and kind of, how we kind of give integrity to these built spaces that we have had around here. I do have a background in mechanical engineering and construction, so I will be bringing a technical background to this role, which I think will be helpful. And I've had nothing but wonderful experiences talking with everyone on the committee, and I'm really excited to be and honored to be in this position. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Hannah.
And I do know Hugo is here.
Hey, sorry, I was trying to get my camera to work, but for some odd reason, it's just not wanting to. It's like when you need it to do something, it just doesn't want to. Hi, councilors, and Mayor Wheeler. I'm like Hannah, I'm very much ecstatic to be here. I'm ecstatic to serve, and I definitely want to really kind of work on, furthering, social equity, contributing to historical depth, and really reinforcing community values in the narratives that we kind of formulate around historic preservation and historical stories in our community. I definitely think that, it's important to to preserve the knowledge and history of our community, definitely before they're lost. And history obviously exists on a continuum, so there's always new stories and new histories that are arising as time kind of goes on. I think a real big thing in like historic preservation right now is that people don't really realize that we're kind of moving into like the 1970s and like the 1980s in terms of like, new stories that are up for preservation that have kind of stood the test of time. And I definitely want to kind of work towards, making sure that those get included into our narratives as well. Definitely excited to be here. Definitely excited to learn. And I really do appreciate your guys' commitment to really everything you guys do for the city of Portland. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugo.
That concludes our program.
Very good. Colleagues, any questions? Do we have public testimony on this report?
No one signed up.
Very well. I entertain a motion to accept the report and the appointments.
So moved.
Commissioner Maps moves, and Commissioner Ryan, did you second?
Sure. Second.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Ryan seconds. Any further discussion? Keelan, please call the roll.
Maps,
I want to thank Hugo and Hannah for agreeing to serve on this important committee. I vote aye.
Rubio,
I want to thank you, Ugo and Anna, for volunteering your services. Both of your backgrounds lend valuable knowledge and professional expertise for this commission, and I'm excited to see where the work goes. Happy to support. I vote aye.
Ryan,
Yeah, thank you, Hannah and Hugo, for volunteering your time, your expertise on the Landmarks Commission. I really enjoy looking at your bios. It's always fascinating to see why someone would want to volunteer their time. And then when you see their background, it makes sense. And Hannah, I really like your advocacy for existing structures, maintaining them where possible through the lens of sustainability. I think that gets lost sometimes in those discussions. And Hugo, your connection between cultural history and historic preservation with an updated lens is needed and wanted at the table. So thank you for your willingness to serve. I accept the report.
Gonzalez,
I vote aye.
Wheeler,
Yeah, I share my colleagues' appreciation for the level of talent people are bringing to this important commission. It is technical work, and it does require a lot of experience, and you both bring it. Thank you so much for your willingness to serve. I vote aye, and the report is accepted. Colleagues, we're about a minute and a half ahead of the next time certain, but in the meanwhile, Commissioner Maps, why don't you fill it for us?
Sure, Mr. Mayor. Can you remind me when we're going to vote on the emergency ordinances today? Yeah, I know you explained that at the top of the meeting, and I've already forgotten.
Yeah, so what I would propose, Commissioner, is we complete the time certain items and then move all of the emergency items to the front of the regular agenda. So that's 1005, 1006, 1010, and 1011. And that way we'll just ensure that we have the quorum intact.
That's great. And as long as we're taking care of just some technical housekeeping stuff, can we I got 1009, which is an infrastructure project that we had out in East Portland. I had to amend it. Today we were going to vote on the amendment. If my colleagues are open to hearing that on emergency, we might want to move that up too.
Yeah, so why don't I do this unless somebody has an objection? Let's just do it in the same order. We'll move it to the front, so it'll be 1005, 1006, then 1009, then 1010, then 1011, if that works. And that way we'll have all of those emergency ordinances up front.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Good. All right, good. It's now 10 o'clock. We can move to the 10 a.m. time certain item number 991, which is also a report.
accept updated Bureau Racial Equity Plans report, which updates the racial equity plan process, approach, timeline, Bureau racial equity submissions, and expectations for racial equity work across city governance.
Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor and colleagues. Today, we're here to examine the progress of racial equity plans, which are diligently updated by the Office of Equity and Human Rights. Jess Selby, the interim director, alongside with Danielle Brooks, our citywide equity and civil rights Title VI manager, and Dr. Cheryl Felicia Means, our equity strategies analyst, have brought forward a comprehensive overview for our consideration today. These racial equity plans aren't just documents. They're a testament to our commitment to break down barriers and foster equity in services and outcomes for both our community and our staff. They're about measuring our progress and holding ourselves accountable. This is the heart of our work, central to enhancing the lives of all Portlanders. I really want to extend my deepest appreciation to the bureaus that have engaged in this important work. It's noted that this takes place in all of our bureaus and offices, and the plans that they've crafted under the guidance of the Office of Equity and Human Rights. Your work has not gone unnoticed, and I thank the Office of Equity for their steadfast dedication in years and in the years of the past couple of years, especially. It's been rough when we do this in the lockdown that we were in. Incorporating equity into our daily operations is non-negotiable again, and the plans we're reviewing today lay the groundwork for ongoing future efforts particularly as we navigate the charter transition. Now I'd like to turn this over to Interim Director Jeff Selby to kick off the presentation. Jeff, I see you virtually. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, Mayor Wheeler, Commissioner Ryan, Commissioner Mapps, Commissioner Rubio, and Commissioner Gonzalez. For the record, my name is Jeff Selby. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the Interim Director of the Office of Equity and Human Rights. Before we begin, we ask that you hold your questions until the end of the presentation. We just want to make sure that we provide all the content we've prepared for you today. So this morning, we submit an update on the culmination of 2 years of work involving citywide racial equity plans. The Office of Equity provided clear outcomes, strategy, and myriad hours of support to Bureau representatives to complete the plans. And I really want to acknowledge all the staff throughout the city who contributed to the effort. The process illustrates progress and also the challenges many city bureaus in the Office of Equity navigate to prioritize equity work in a siloed government structure. But it also allows us opportunities to improve and unify equity work throughout the city on behalf of community. I'd like to pass it to Danielle Brooks, who will start us off.
Great, thank you. Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you for your time and consideration. For the record, I'm Danielle Brooks. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the city's Civil Rights Title VI and Equity Manager with the Office of Equity and Human Rights. Before we dive into the development process, I wanted to briefly provide a little bit of background. So over 15 years ago, our government made a commitment to address persistent entrenched disparities, dismantle institutional racism and oppression, and advance a vision of equity and justice. We were one of the first cities to undertake, codify, invest in, and formally pursue such an initiative. Developing racial equity plans was one of our earliest citywide actions. Administrative Rule 1831, adopted by Council in 2016, entitled City's Equity Budget Tool and Racial Equity Plans, directs and calls for racial equity planning and reporting. So what are racial equity plans? Racial equity plans are ongoing strategic plans that articulate how an organization will work to address disparities, operate and serve the public equitably, and improve equitable outcomes with respect to its core work and mission. It puts a theory of change or logic model into action to achieve a collective vision of racial equity. Plans at their best serve as a proactive roadmap for organizations, which provide us with clear direction and focus, helps identify and prioritize efforts and strategies in alignment with conditions of well-being and community need, provides information that we can utilize for decision-making, including diagnosis and understanding of barriers and disparities, and it gives us a tool for transparency, accountability, and measuring progress. So no small feat. Organized and supported by cross-bureau core teams, the first 5-year Bureau equity plans were reported to the office in the fall of 2016. Some bureaus went through an effort to reorganize and develop new equity plans. However, most bureau plans expired by the fall of 2021. As we approached the mile marker for plan renewal, the Office of Equity assessed plan management, researched best practices, and collected stakeholder feedback. Using that input and research, the office developed new equity plan standards and approach grounded in targeted universalism and modeled on equity-centered results-based accountability. I'll turn it over to Dr. Cheryl Felicia Means to provide more detail on the approach, process, and the plans themselves. Thank you.
Good morning, all. For the record, I am Dr. Cheryl Felicia Means, and I use she, her pronouns. I am the Equity Strategies Analyst with the Office of Equity and Human Rights. As Danielle expressed, the community feedback in 2018 and continued discussions in 2021 elevated some key issues with the 2016 racial equity plans. To update these plans and meet the goals and expectations, not only of community, but of the Office of Equity, we identified 6 meaningful goals for updated plans through some of those conversations. Key amongst these goals are 2 things. 1, connecting the plans to city programs and values, and 2, tracking progress enterprise-wide toward equitable outcomes. All goals align to help the city build scalable and replicable processes, which ultimately aid in maintaining compliance with federal guidelines and expectations. To ensure continued alignment with the city's equity goals and to establish meaningful equity metrics, there are 3 methods of accountability named here and that we implemented through this process. Accountability is not and was never intended to be a punitive process. We do recognize, however, bringing these plans to the highest authority in city government for acceptance elevates the validity and importance of equity work to city government. The choice is to implement results-based accountability, present the plans to council, and establish performance management and annual reporting goals is threefold. To take responsibility to create the results expected from our communities, to require transparency, integrity, and humility to acknowledge disproportionate impacts of Bureau action and inaction on community, and to build trust by shifting the focus from performance to impact on equitable outcomes. Updated plan goals were realized over time, beginning with sharing the new approach with community bureaus and leadership between May and October of 2021, and training in results-based accountability from October 2021 to July 2022. Importantly, from May 2021 to now, staffing vacancies impeded progress for some bureaus, including the work of the Office of Equity. The Office of Equity worked diligently to be flexible and responsive to bureau needs and requests throughout this process, and the deadline has changed to contend with the external and internal challenges. Given those challenges, including, of course, pandemic response, lead staff vacancies, and differences in plan development progress, bureaus requested additional time following the training in RBA for plan development, and the due date was delayed by a year, initially from May 2022 to May 2023, and then a second time from May 2023 to August of 2023. The second deadline extension was as a result of my review of the plans in February of this year, which indicated that many bureaus still had not started their plans. All bureaus ultimately submitted their plans by the end of October, except for the Water Bureau, for whom the first edition of the plan had not expired. And while Parks plan has not expired either, the Bureau graciously provided their updates and their most recent report on racial equity, and it's included in this submission to council. I was hired in January of 2023, and following, again, my status review of the plans, I decided that the extension was necessary. In March, I suggested these modifications to the Office of Equity and presented them to the equity managers during a joint meeting in April. We created the changes in deadline and scope, and we proposed that bureaus could focus on fewer, more developed equity outcomes, but maintain that at least one outcome be focused on community results. Implementation of accountability outlined earlier in this presentation would go unchanged in this new process. So we did not consider the plans that were submitted for approval today to be final documents, but foundational, which is something that Danielle will speak to further in a later slide. These plans are intended to carry bureaus through the transition for 18 months and shift with the city as an enterprise. Although many bureaus will change in shape, the functions of those bureaus and those offices will remain. Finally, the updates we began with a unified process across the city budget performance team and in alignment with budget priorities. American Rescue Plan Act Data and Equity Strategies team and Bureau of Planning and Sustainability Smart Cities team were also a part of this process, and their processes were kept in mind. The review process for racial equity plans was tiered and involved a partnership between the Office of Equity Title 16, which includes Danielle Brooke and myself, and the City Budget Office Performance Team, which included Lillian Nguyen, Elizabeth Lee, and Ruth Levine. After plans were submitted to the Office of Equity and reviewed by the Title VI team, the performance team ensured performance measures named in those plans aligned with the city budget priorities and with their processes. The comments and edits were returned to the bureaus to address and be resubmitted in October at the latest, and most plans went through this process. However, some plans were not submitted in time for this review. They are still included in the submission for acceptance by council. Plans were frequently aligned both in their hopes for racial equity and the challenges they faced and anticipated while developing them. One of the major challenges that influenced plan development and pretty much all city functions, of course, was COVID-19. Staff turnover and budget cuts to externally facing programs heavily influenced some bureaus' decisions not to include community-facing programming in their plans. Additionally, the charter transition was cited as a concern by almost every bureau. Regardless, the prevalent theme across bureaus was recruitment, hiring, and retention. And this is largely in response to the issues that we already named that influenced the completion of the plans in the first place. Some bureaus hope to improve internal processes to move bureau functions toward more equitable practices. But most bureaus, however, had at least one item that involved increased community access, outreach, or education in their plans, with metrics in mind to demonstrate that change over time. As stated earlier, the review process for the plans was tiered. While the Title VI team focused on the action items in the plan and their alignment with citywide equity goals that impacts all people living in Portland, the performance management team focused on how to move the bureaus from thinking about data sources to the specific items they want to measure. They also focused on creating a specific balance between the kinds of data sources for each of the measures named in bureau plans. The focus of the comments and edits was to push bureaus toward next steps once the government transition was complete. And now I will hand the presentation back to Danielle Brooks to discuss next steps now that plans have been submitted.
Thank you. So we want these plans to be meaningful and useful. We don't want them just put on a shelf, which we know occasionally happens. They're designed and intended to be living, dynamic, and iterative. Even though we're bringing these plans to council, as Dr. Means discussed, they're foundational. We'll continue to build on this incredible thoughtful work in this foundation and adapt to respond to present needs of the transition, adapt to community needs, ebb and flow with prioritization and programming changes, and include a more comprehensive inventory of bureau programming to ensure accountability to equity in all of our work. Over the next year, our office will support bureaus with action implementation, data management, and plan growth, all in preparation for year one reporting. Using the performance management system designed for American Rescue Plan delivery as a model, our office plans to build out a data management strategy and pipeline and a public data sharing platform for ongoing reporting, tracking progress, and improved access to information. We're in the process of establishing city equity outcomes that are based on existing community and city plans and designing a data tool with accompanying population level indicators that will help us understand current conditions, disparities, and opportunities to make a difference across the communities we serve. We plan to connect and map bureau plans and strategies to these outcomes, and this will help us with enterprise-wide alignment and connect ongoing decision-making to community need. The city has to update our Civil Rights Title VI plan to meet federal requirements, and rather than having duplicative processes that cover overlapping content, we'll merge these for unified planning and reporting. This ensures that we're covering both what we're doing to address disparities and advance equitable outcomes and how we're doing it. We'll spend the next year preparing for the Title VI plan and then engage in plan development and merging that work after the transition. Bureau plans could easily align and inform future strategic plans. So post-transition, we recommend the city administrator explore streamlining efforts and creating comprehensive equity-centered strategic plans that include Title VI requirements. This would allow for greater unification, consistency, and add strength to the work while lessening burden on individuals and organizational units. It's a successful practice that's been used in other jurisdictions and in a few of our own bureaus. So coordination and connection are primary objectives in all of these next steps. This is part of a larger cross-bureau effort to extend and strengthen equity and accountability systems, support high-performance government, and focus on community outcomes. We're working with partners, most notably the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability Smart City PDX Data Services team and the City Budget Office Performance team to align and connect our outcomes-based accountability, data, and performance management models into a unified approach while exploring opportunities to coordinate, elevate, and scale. And we've actually seen the application of this framework on a small but more intensive scale with American Rescue Plan delivery. And we think that exemplifies the benefits and speaks to a little bit of where we'd like to go. And I won't go into too many details because I know we're limited on time. I'll just say that as part of the American Rescue Plan delivery data and equity strategies team, we, along with our partners, developed an approach in parallel to equity plan updates. So it was intentional that these mirrored each other. And because of the investment priority, outcome, and project alignment and consistent and reliable data management and reporting, we can show impact and progress throughout an ARPA project's lifespan and tell the story across projects. So, for example, we can better understand the services and service distribution of an individual project like Safe Rest Villages. And we can also look across information from across individual projects like Safe Rest Villages, rental assistance, utility debt assistance, to be transparent and accountable about what we're doing and how we're doing to more broadly support household stabilization as an investment area, and how we're doing to prioritize communities most impacted by the economic and health impacts of the pandemic. So we want to show impact and progress of plan actions across plans and be strategic about how long-term Bureau strategies can individually and collectively align and meet community needs to broader outcomes in a similar manner. So maybe look at those broader outcomes like furthering stable, affordable, quality housing of choice, which would include many cross-Bureau strategies and actions. And that way we can look and see how we're advancing progress within that particular area. We know that this great work is happening in the bureaus and across teams, and the actions and strategies are really what matter. We want to elevate that work and create consistency at a citywide level. So continued integration with our partner processes and ongoing planning and building in that layer of accountability can aid city decision-making and programming and lend to a more invested community, better outcomes, clear impacts, and increased trust. The plans and the subsequent management are important steps and tools to support ongoing implementation of a comprehensive equity strategy that's intended to yield equitable outcomes and improve the lived experience of all people in Portland. We have a lot of exciting work ahead, and to do this well and be effective, these tools and this framework does need ongoing leadership support and involvement and bureau and service area commitment. I'll pass it to Jeff to talk a little bit more about advancing the work as we look ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. So the Office of Equity and Human Rights was established 12 years ago in response to demand from communities of color to get the city's house in order in terms of equity. But the office was established with little authority and oversight capacity. So my staff has had to navigate the structural barrier by being wily, creative, collaborative, and persistent. And we've been remarkably effective given our structural barriers. Under our current city structure, what has gotten lost in some cases is priority and purpose. The racial equity plan process shines a light on the uneven, disparate approaches to equity in a siloed form of government. Next slide, please. Under our current government structure, bureaus were not compelled to adopt our methodology, approach, or measures of outcomes, although the Office of Equity needed certain benchmarks and data to fulfill our citywide responsibilities to community and city council. But many equity practitioners are overloaded with additional tasks. And as Dr. Means mentioned earlier, leadership and staff turnover, COVID-19, transition planning, all those presented challenges to ensuring the racial equity plan process continuity. So the Office of Equity has the talent, vision, strategy, and know-how to move equity work forward in the city. We just haven't had the authority needed to fully meet the city's promise to community. But a big part of that struggle is about to change for the better. Thanks to Commissioner Ryan's unwavering support, acknowledgement from Mayor Wheeler and City Council, Mike Jordan and the city's transition team, the Office of Equity is elevated in the new city structure. and the Office of Equity will report to a new equity officer position under the city administrator. And my team and I are looking forward to leading this strategic planning process with city leaders and the city transition team. So elevating the office is a monumental step forward, but truly connecting the city's equity work is the next task at hand. We have to unify our enterprise-wide equity work to fulfill our promise to community. A unified, standardized citywide equity approach would allow us to use the city's investment of equity funding more responsibly and allow us to collaborate more effectively in our data-driven work on behalf of community. I recommend creating senior equity administrator positions in each service area, reporting to the equity officer. That way, equity administrators could coordinate equity work with equity practitioners throughout their bureaus in their respective service areas, but also collaborate with their equity administrator counterparts across all service areas, all under the direction of the equity officer and the Office of Equity. So I want to thank you, City Council, Mayor, for elevating the Office of Equity in the new Portland government. That elevation and a cohesive strategy to unify the city's equity work will allow us to fulfill our promise to communities of color and other systemically excluded and institutionally oppressed communities in a more robust and efficient manner and with the urgency it deserves. And this was a true citywide collaboration. I'd like to thank the City Budget Office Performance Team, Planning and Sustainability Smart City PDX Data Services team, the ARPA delivery team, Swetha Ambati, who was part of our staff, who Dr. Cheryl Felicia Means took over for in this work. And thanks to Dr. Means for shepherding the bureaus through this Herculean process, and also to Danielle Brooks for her continued leadership. And I want to thank the equity managers, equity practitioners, and staff around the city who took the time and care to create their plans. And that does it for the formal presentation, but we can take questions at this time.
Very good. Colleagues, any questions at this point? Keelan, do we have, Commissioner Ryan.
Oh, wait, let's wait for if there's any public testimony.
Yeah, Keelan, do we have anybody signed up?
We had one person sign up.
All right.
I'm to see if they're here. Tina Tyab. I don't think they've joined us.
Very good. Commissioner Ryan.
Yeah. Thank you, Interim Director Selby and your amazing team. That was a great report. I just, a couple things really stood out. I know we've had conversations about this, and I'm pleased to see that we're moving more and more towards results-based accountability. And I love that we're also moving more towards having some indicators out in the community and how the work is landing with the services that we're providing to Portlanders. So can you give an example of both of those where it could just, you have a better understanding of what both the results-based accountability and an example perhaps of a community-wide indicator?
Danielle, could you take that, please, since you've been involved?
Absolutely. So I think one of the easiest examples might be around looking at an outcome around stable, affordable, rooted housing of choice, affordable housing of choice. And as far as an indicator goes, you know, we can easily look at, there's so many numerous indicators and data that's part of our, provided by our Portland Housing Bureau. And we can look at rent burden by community and across neighborhoods. So that could be a broad community indicator that we might look at. We might look at some of the information from the point in time count, other things like that to see how communities are doing and kind of those long-term things. And we might look at a strategy that could include, you know, as far as tying the work, we might look at multiple types of housing strategies that can range from, you know, coordinated development, housing, affordable housing, production and preservation, to more, you know, upstream permitting processes and improvements to permitting processes, all the way down to shelter, providing temporary shelter sites and direct services to houseless individuals. So it can range, and we can look to see making progress.
So I think why I wanted to have a little bit of dialogue on this is I know when I was overseeing BDS, there, except for the auditor doing an update every 10 years, you know, then we'd find out that things were going well. It was really important to get real-time data. And I think that, and we did that with looking at in Housing Bureau as well with evictions, and we are doing it with a dashboard on safe risk villages. So I think that the more that each leader in bureaus and offices has their community-wide indicators that are updated, and then moving more towards disaggregating them on things like such as race, we can actually, what you measure matters. I never forget years ago at an equity training, this person kind of upset some people in the room, but they said, if you're not measuring equity, you're not doing equity work. And so I think that it's really pleasing for me to see how this is evolving in the Office of Equity. And I want to thank you for that. And I want to encourage all of us to lead our bureaus and our offices to have more community-wide accountability with our indicators and how they connect with equity. So thanks.
Very good. I just had two basic questions. Well, one's really a question, one's a comment. First of all, thank you for a really outstanding report. And I also want to thank the team. Commissioner Ryan, what have you done? I want to thank the team for taking the time to meet with each of the commissioners individually, myself included, and answer a lot of questions. I found that very useful. Could you clarify one point, just so I'm sure I understand it? In this report, there's discussion of internally facing versus externally facing community efforts. Could you just put a finer line on how you see those efforts evolving, just so I understand how much you're intending we focus internally on our city's recruitment, retention, culture versus efforts in the community? Where do you top level, where do you see us heading?
Well, Danielle, do you want to go ahead and start us off, and then I can fill in if needed?
Sure. I mean, I think that there's kind of some distinctions around internally facing. There's definitely the focus that can be on, like you, as you spoke to, kind of the employment, employees, and workplace culture side of things, which is a huge and important part of the work. There's also internal parts of the work that might improve how we make decisions. So different data tools, decision-making criteria, engagement practices that we can put in place that are intended to impact those community services. And that's really when we're talking about external, is how are we aligning internal work to focus on the external, and how are we also aligning that our public services, the work that has a public impact towards those more equitable outcomes. So it's intended to be kind of a logic model in multiple ways, I guess, if that makes sense. I do think that oftentimes we can bureaus, there isn't enough attention paid to all of it. I guess bureaus might focus their attention one way and not another, and we really do need to look at most of the work. And I think we need to be better about coordinating that external and public facing work.
So would it be your contention then, Danielle, that as we move into the future here, we'll see more external facing efforts from the office? Is that a fair statement, or is it just a balance you're seeking?
If you wouldn't mind me jumping in real quick, I would just say that everything the Office of Equity does has an external impact. Everything we do is on behalf of community. There's certainly workforce equity issues that we work on as well, but the work we're doing, and one of the reasons why these racial equity plans were so important, was for us to be able to collect data on how to better serve institutionally oppressed and systemically excluded communities. So the whole the conversation about internal and external has always been a little bit confusing, in that our work is external. It impacts community heavily, and that's why we were formed. As far as the workplace equity goes, you can attract a diverse workforce, but if you don't have the systems and structures in place to support a diverse workforce, then that's where we run into not being able to sustain the diversity that we want to have on the city workforce. So sorry to interrupt, Danielle, if you have anything to add, please do.
No, I don't have anything to add. You covered it nicely.
Good. And I'll just make my comment, which is, based on the conversation we had the other day, it sounded to me like there were some obvious opportunities around the centralization And as we move to a new form of government, we have a new mayor, a new council with fresh eyes. It seems to me there's opportunities to consolidate some of the efforts that are now happening in disparate bureaus under different leadership and have more of an enterprise-wide strategy around inclusion. So I really appreciated those thoughts as well that we had the opportunity to share. I'm all done. Anybody else have any questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Commissioner Maps moves to accept the report. Can I please get a second?
Second. Is my mission not working?
Now it's working. I hear
Okay.
you. Commissioner Ryan seconds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Keelan, please call the roll.
Maps,
I want to thank Commissioner Ryan and OEHR for this report and today's presentation. I vote aye.
Rubio,
I want to thank Commissioner Ryan for being a leader in bringing this updated plan and approach. I also want to thank the Office of Equity and Human Rights for taking on this incredibly important work. And specifically, thank you to Danielle and Dr. Means for developing a data framework that's based in accountability and embeds the process with proper checks or important checks in points for compliance. And then I also want to appreciate, along with my colleagues, although the work of the folks in the bureaus who do this work every day and are putting their plans together and sharing their input with this office. So look forward to seeing the work continue. I vote aye.
Ryan,
Yeah, first of all, thank you. Thank you so much, colleagues, for engaging and leaning into this report. And I really want to give my heartfelt thanks to Interim Director Selby, Danielle, Dr. Means, and all your bureau staff for your dedication. You really have taken this beyond compliance and into a creative, innovative way of moving forward with equity. And again, leading this work and making it operational, making it data-driven, making it results-based to actually achieve population results beyond internal as well is very important and aspirational. And, the equity movement, if you will, just keeps evolving. And so I think what's hard for some people about this work is to just accept that it's continuous improvement work at its root level every day. And so that we just have to keep being humbly hungry to keep learning and being curious as we can keep making this better for the city. And it's an economic driver when you really get right down to it. We have communities that we've failed, especially when I think of our newer arrival communities and how they always are there are emerging economies, and you've got to really get them into the fold of your city and into the economic ecosystem. So I think that sometimes equity isn't connected to that through line. So I just wanted to give a shout out to that as well. I'm just really pleased with the role. I think that we do have a chance as we evolve into the new org chart, if you will, to really look for that approach that breaks down those silos, and we have the disciplines that are common throughout all bureaus, and that we have that influence that is supportive and helpful as all offices in the city and all bureaus in the city get more aligned with how we can keep making progress and get better population results. My point is, I'm really pleased with the progress that I've witnessed in my time of overseeing the Office of Equity. Thank you so much. I vote aye for accept the report.
Gonzalez,
I vote to accept the report. Thank you.
Wheeler,
Well, I want to acknowledge that this was a multi-year effort leading up to this point. I want to thank everybody in the Bureau. Commissioner Ryan, thanks for your stalwart leadership to keep this moving in a really positive and productive way. I'm happy to support the effort. I vote aye and the report is accepted. We'll move to item 992. It's also time certain, and it is a second reading.
grant residential solid waste collection franchises in the city of Portland.
This is a second reading of a non-emergency ordinance. Is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Maps,
Aye.
Rubio,
I want to thank Evan and Quentin for their presentations to the council and also all the background work to get us to this new franchise agreement. And this agreement before us largely keeps our current system intact while adding improvements to keep in alignment with our values and guiding principles. And the system with timely updates ensures that Portland residents have a consistent, reliable service within city approved rates. So happy to support this. I vote aye.
Ryan,
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Maps, for your leadership. You really did bring a lot of opinions to the table, and you landed a policy that we can move forward with. And for that hard work, I give a lot of credit, and I vote aye.
Gonzalez,
I vote aye.
Wheeler,
Aye, the ordinance is approved. Thanks, everybody. Next item is the last item on our time certain agenda, item 993. A report.
Mayor, we're a little early for that one.
So we are. Yeah, let's keep moving though. Let me jump to something else. I'll come back to that. Why don't we go to 100? Well, actually, shoot, I hate to do that because that's a bit meatier. This is time certain at 10:45. Why don't we just take a quick break and we'll reconvene at 10:45. We're in recess.
Thanks.
It's not going to work.
We will do 993, please, an appointment.
Appoint Dan Floyd to the Children's Levy Allocation Committee for term to expire December 31st, 2025.
Colleagues, this item reviews a new appointment to the Portland Children's Levy Allocation. I'll turn this over to Commissioner Ryan. Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, the Portland Children's Levy Allocation Committee is a 5-member board that oversees the implementation of the Portland Children's Levy. That's a voter improved levy. Levy was in fact improved just this past May. The committee, or in 2022, last year, the committee makes policy decisions and grant funding recommendations to City Council. Committee members include a seat for a representative of the business community. And I will now turn it over to Lisa Pellegrino, the director of the Portland Children's Levy, for a brief overview of Dan Floyd's qualifications to serve on this committee. Hello, Lisa, take it away.
Thanks, Commissioner Ryan, and good morning, council members. I'm Lisa Pellegrino. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the director of the Children's Levy. I'm delighted to tell you a little bit about Dan Floyd. He brings a range of key qualifications to this position. He grew up in Portland and attended Portland Public Schools and Lewis and Clark College. He gained extensive experience in public affairs and government relations with the Northwest Grocery Association and with Safeway. He also worked with community-based organizations that provide hunger relief services in both paid and volunteer capacities, and the levy funds hunger relief supports in the city of Portland, so his knowledge in that area would be useful. He is currently the Chief Operating Officer and co-owner of Hood to Coast Race Series and the president of Floyd Public Affairs, and he co-founded On Shelf Partners, a retail food brokerage. So he's a longtime member of the local business community. And in addition to that, he has broad volunteer experience with organizations that focus on youth and equity. He served on and chaired many nonprofit boards, including All Hands Raised, Providence Portland Medical Foundation, the Oregon League of Minority Voters, and Insight, which is a nonprofit that supports youth with disabilities. So I'm delighted to recommend him for appointment to the committee, and hope you'll approve him.
Very good. Thank you. Colleagues, any questions or any thoughts at this juncture? And do we have Mr. Floyd present? Did he want to make any comments?
No, he's on a timely vacation.
Oh, good. Well deserved.
Yeah.
Well deserved. Do we have any public testimony on this report?
No one signed up.
Very good. I'll entertain a motion to accept the report and the appointment.
So moved.
We have Commissioner Ryan moves, Commissioner Mapp seconds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Apps.
Aye.
Rubio.
I was really delighted to see Dan's name. I have a lot of confidence in his leadership, and he's very child-centered in his perspective, and he'll be really great in this role. Happy to vote aye.
Ryan.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really pleased to introduce Dan Floyd appointment to the Portland Children's Levy Committee. Just a little bit of a story. I've known Dan now for some time, which says a lot since he's quite young, but I remember how he was always active as a coach in Little League. And then when we'd work out around the same time in the morning at Lloyd Athletic Club, he would be there with like anywhere from 2 to 5 of his players every day at 7 a.m. Before school to see teenagers at 7 a.m. working out with their coach. Made me realize, all right, this guy is so committed to youth, and having someone with that lived experience at the policy table making decisions is exactly the kind of leaders you're looking for in these positions. So thank you for all the good work you do at Hood to Coast Race Series and your leadership in this city, and now choosing to spend some time overseeing the good work of the Portland Children's Levy. I vote to accept the report.
Gonzalez.
I vote to accept the report.
Wheeler.
I am grateful that we have terrific people like this stepping forward. Lisa, thank you for your longstanding leadership. I had the privilege of serving on this allocation committee twice in 2 different capacities. And frankly, your great leadership and your incredible sense of organization helped make it much, much easier than it would have been in the absence of that kind of great leadership. Commissioner Ryan, thank you for bringing forward a terrific nominee. This is great. I vote aye. The report is accepted. The appointment is approved. We'll now move to the regular agenda. And again, we'll do it a little bit out of order, but for now we're in order. We'll start with 1005, an emergency ordinance.
Create 5 non-represented classifications to support the transition to the government structure supported by city charter and establish compensation ranges for these classifications.
Colleagues, in alignment with the recently adopted organizational chart, this ordinance creates classifications and compensation ranges for the future city administrator, the assistant city administrator, deputy city administrator, mayor's aide, mayor's senior aide, classification and compensation analyst, Barb Seipels, classification, compensation, and pay equity manager, Risa Williams, and charter transition project manager, Shoshana Oppenheim, are all here to present the item. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Shoshana Oppenheim, Transition Project Manager. I use she, they pronouns, and we're here for council consideration of the classifications that will align with the charter amendments and the council approved organizational structure. Adopting the classifications is a technical and administrative first step in developing the position descriptions necessary to recruit and hire our new city leadership and support positions for the new executive mayor. This ordinance was filed as an emergency to make it effective today rather than in 30 days, which allows the city to enter the classifications into our organization software and utilize the classifications in the budget development process. The sequencing of the council action on the organizational chart and Cal target preceded today's ordinance. I'm joined by Risa Williams, manager of the Classification, Compensation, and Pay Equity Group, and Barb Seipels, Classification, Compensation Analyst. Risa and Barb will walk you through the process used to develop the classifications you're considering today and the methodology used to set compensation ranges for these roles. So with that, I'll pass it to Risa.
Thank you, Shoshana. Mayor and City Council, my name is Risa Williams, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Classification, Compensation, and Pay Equity Manager. You may hear me affectionately refer to my team as Class Comp. Before we present the classifications for the new org structure, the current slide provides a summary of commonly used terms that are included in our presentation today. Now, this is not to imply that you may not be familiar with these terms. Rather, we want to provide clarification to those who may not be as familiar with these industry terms and definitions. A classification is a broad description of a body of work, and a position is distinct from a classification in that one or more positions may belong to a classification. For example, there's a water efficiency coordinator in the Water Bureau and a nature patch program coordinator in Parks. Both positions belong to the Coordinator 2 classification, which is assigned the same minimum and maximum rates of pay, and they are still distinct positions. Each incumbent in those positions is paid anywhere within the pay range based on their experience and in accordance with pay equity. All pay ranges at the City of Portland make up the pay structure. Next slide. Class Comp was asked to create classifications that currently do not exist and to modify existing classifications to align with the current amendments and the new city organizational structure that Council approved on November 1st. Developing classifications and recommending pay ranges for new bodies of work, it's a common practice for classification and compensation professionals. The city charter requires that we have a classification for city administrator, for example, which is a new body of work. So next, I'll pass it to Barb Seipels, who will walk through the analysis for developing the new classifications. Barb?
Thanks, Risa. Good morning, all. I'm Barb Seipels, she, her pronouns, compensation analyst with BHR's Class Comp team. The first step in approaching our assignment was to understand the new body of work that will be introduced into the city's operations. The Class Comp team relied on information from the city charter, classification descriptions of similar roles already established by other municipalities, and conversations between BHR and the transition team to share current thinking and talk through any unknowns. Based on this information, we composed descriptions of the needed classifications. Next slide, please. And apologies, my previous statements were in relation to this slide. Now I want to talk a little bit about modifying existing classifications. So our first task was to identify the work, understand that we needed new classifications. But some roles in the new structure are similar to already existing classifications that have already been established by the city. In these cases, we modified the existing classification specifications to reflect the changes. In other words, we made edits to the existing commissioner staff rep and commissioner staff rep senior classifications to align more closely with the future roles of council aide and council aide senior. Note that the mayor's office employs positions in the commissioner staff rep and commissioner staff rep senior classifications. As a housekeeping task, we are creating new classifications specifically aligned with the mayor's office. Next slide, please. Once the classification descriptions were developed, the next step was to determine pay ranges for these classifications. The city has policies that guide this work. Because we seek to be competitive, we reference data from municipalities of similar size and structure and strive to pay no less than the market average. Market data should be robust to be meaningful. More data points are better than fewer within reason. We gather pay data associated with similar classifications found at external municipalities and understand that no two classifications will be the same. Because of this, we reference the market average. Market data, however, is just one point of reference. Pay ranges for new classifications must also dovetail with the existing pay structure. We review existing classifications in terms of level of responsibility and authority relative to the new classification and note where they fall in the compensation structure. In addition, we consider the pay ranges of classifications that will report up to the new classifications and those that will supervise them. Next slide, please. In summary, the process the Class Comp team uses to set pay is guided by policy. We conduct a market survey, we evaluate existing classifications, and we align the new classifications to the internal structure. The final step in the process is to make our recommendation for council approval. I'll pass the presentation back to Risa.
Thank you, Barb. Next slide, please. To summarize, we're here to approve 5 classifications that do not currently exist. You've heard from Barb about the process and information we use to determine competitive pay rates. Council approval is required to establish the new classifications, and at this time, there is no budget impact from the ordinance before council today. Council will consider the fiscal impacts of these positions during the budget process. The creation of these classifications is a necessary first step toward recruiting and hiring new city leadership and to establish support for the new executive mayor. Today, the ordinance directs the Bureau of Human Resources to create 5 new non-represented classifications and to establish the compensation rates. Next slide, please. So after council approves the classifications and pay ranges, we can move on to next steps. The new classifications can be added to city systems and positions can be developed so that they will be filled when needed. This concludes our presentations. We will now take any of your questions. Next
Very
slide,
good.
please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for the presentation. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Hi there. Could you walk me through for the deputy city administrator this range and how it compares to bureau leads under our current system?
Yes, this is Barb. I'd be happy to speak to that. So we did hear from the charter transition team about the organizational structure and what classifications would be reporting up through into the deputy city administrators. And our understanding is that director 3 level positions will report into the deputy city administrator. So we wanted to give space between those 2 classifications to account for compression issues, cases where supervisor pay would be too close or potentially below the pay of subordinates. So currently the director 3 pay at the city of Portland, apologies while I find that information.
Yeah, I have that range. So the ranges, the range for director 3, the pay range currently starts at above 183. So $183,934.40. And then the top of the class or the top of that range is $273,769.60.
Okay. No, that's helpful. And could you, both for those listening at home, and frankly, I need the reminder, director 3 versus director 2 and 1. Could you give me the 30-second version of that hierarchy?
Or you'd like the salaries for those also?
No, just the difference in classification. What's the basis for director 1, 2, and 3 on in the status quo?
Yes, it has.
Yeah, go ahead, Barb. I was just gonna say, I'll let you take that one.
Thank you. The distinctions between the director levels 1, 2, and 3 have to do with the size of the budget and staff. Let's see. Director 1 must meet 2 of the following 3 requirements: responsible for a minimum of 0.1%, but less than 2% of the total city budget, a minimum of 1, but less than 3 manager 3 or higher level direct reports, and a minimum of 0.1%, but less than 1% of the city's FTE, full-time equivalent staff. Director 2 must meet 2 of the following 3 requirements: responsibility for a minimum of 2%, but less than 5% of the total city budget, a minimum of 3, but less than 5 manager 3 or higher level direct reports, and a minimum of 1%, but less than 5% of city FTEs. And the director 3 must meet 2 of the following 3 requirements: responsibility for a minimum of 5% of the total city budget, a minimum of 5 manager 3 or higher level direct reports, and a minimum of 5% of city full-time equivalent staffing.
Thank you for that background. If you don't mind, if you could send to my office just a reminder of those job descriptions for Director 1 through 3, I'd appreciate it. I speaking personally here, I do not feel a compelling need that for us to have separation between Director 3s and deputies as salary ranges. I think it's conceivable that we're going to have many bureau directors that will continue to have potentially substantially more responsibility than some deputies, depending on what the next form of government chooses to implement and span of control. I'm certainly concerned about the budgetary impacts when I look at the total weight of these deputies and frankly the whole hog when we talk about city administrator, deputies, and assistants here. So that's kind of my initial sort of thoughts and concerns there with that component. On the assistant city administrator, can you just remind me what we were comparing that role to as we were coming up with this salary range?
Right. So the assistant city administrator, as it was described, is for the city of Portland, is very different from what we typically find in the market. In the market, the assistant city administrator is typically kind of a COO, kind of second in command, has the authority of the city administrator in the city administrator's absence. However, the way that the position or the classification is formulated for the city is that it is responsible for service areas or areas of focus that are smaller and less complex than those that would be overseen by a deputy city administrator. And so in order to determine a pay range for that classification, since market wasn't a great indicator, since our classification does appear to be unique, if I'm not mistaken, we looked at sort of average rates of typical assistant city administrator roles, and I believe the city administrator's chief of staff role, if I'm not mistaken, and created sort of took the average of those two pay ranges to develop the pay range for our assistant city administrator, as well as looking at what classifications would report up to it and ensuring there was some separation, a gap between the pay of the assistant city administrator and those classifications it would supervise.
Okay, that's helpful. I guess the last just general observation, and I think this exists in the status quo, but it's certainly being carried over. There is an interesting sort of disparity between elected staff and administrator staff. I think that's a reality today. I mean, there's a when you look at some of the skill sets that the mayor's chief of staff or a commissioner's chief of staff carry that potentially could carry in the Portland building. You make more in the Portland building than you do in City Hall for those type of positions. Again, that exists today. I sometimes wonder from an architecture perspective if that's ideal. You actually have less security in working for an elected, less pay than in the bureaucracy. Again, that's nothing new in this form of government. I think you're carrying over some architecture there, but it's more of an observation. And I don't know if you all have thoughts on that, but I just sort of a note there. And if you don't have any thoughts on it, that's fine too. I just observing sort of the trend there, but I think I'm good for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ryan.
This report, anytime you see an emergency ordinance on something that's so big like this, it's natural for us to want to have some more dialogue. I know we, in the Charter Review Commission, I remember when I'd meet with them, I'd say, the real hard work is going to be building this new org chart as we move into a new form of government. And so this council has been tasked with partnering with you because they didn't do that part. We are doing that. So when we're in these conversations, we just want to make sure we get it right. And so when you see the emergency clause, you want to make sure that you don't vote on something that you're unaware of. And it was hard for me to understand how this crosswalks with the budget, because this is definitely going to be, in my experience, as I've been on council, by far the most challenging upcoming budget process that we're in. So I really appreciated Commissioner Gonzalez's questions, both about that, but also about, are we just moving over some architecture that we could probably have a debate about to improve as we move into this new org chart? So I'm a little baffled. One is, why is this an emergency ordinance today? Like, why didn't we have a first reading? I'm curious.
I can take that one. I think that due to the sequencing of the organizational chart, we pushed that hearing back and then the Cal target back. So it just kind of compressed our time in order to be ready for the budgeting process. So if it was a regular ordinance, it would be effective in 30 days. And so that eats into our administrative time to be ready for the budgeting process and have this information into the systems for the budgeting process. So
the problem we're trying to solve is what?
It's just a timing issue. The emergency ordinance allows it to be in effect today so that we can use the information in the budgeting process and have the information into the software used by our budgeting partners.
And I may be, this is Barb, I may be able to provide a little bit more information, which is that creating new classifications and integrating them into our human resources information system, SAP, and into other electronic systems like NeoGov, which is our recruitment system. It does take time, and there's process, and so in order to ensure that the classifications are in the systems, that will allow the systems to be able to be used by the budget office when they're developing the budgets, and be able to be used by the recruitment team to set up recruitment so that when approvals are gained, things can function quickly.
And you can't start some of that preliminary work without council approval?
Correct. We're unable to create classifications in the systems until council has approved them.
Mayor, I'll pull away, but I'm sure we might have some. Do we have any public testimony on this? Since this would be the only day they could provide it. We didn't really give them an on-ramp to do that. So do we have any public testimony?
Feel it.
No one signed up.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
I'll go ahead, Commissioner Gonzalez.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your flow there, Commissioner Ryan. I had one additional question that you kind of.
I kind of had a frozen moment, like, okay, this is something that I can't tell how big it is. Like, will we have a chance to edit this going forward? And so we have, again, this is complex, and we have a big budget challenge coming up. And again, the most important work that we needed to do to restructure our city to serve Portlanders better is the organizational chart. That's what was flawed. And since the Charter Review Commission chose not to touch that, they focused just more on political jobs. We're the team that has to keep doing this right for the city of Portland. I just want to make sure I don't regret these moments when there's a emergency clause on something, and I haven't had a lot of time to digest this.
Maybe I could just jump in.
Commissioner Gonzalez, you might have some more pointed questions that would move this along. So thank you.
Commissioner Ryan, I'm happy to respond. I want you to maybe think of it as the scaffolding. Today's classifications are really just the scaffolding for the decisions, future decisions that you'll make. You'll make, again, a decision about the funding of these positions in the budget process. You'll make a decision about the deputy city administrators as you're working through your service areas, about the roles and responsibilities of the deputies that really kind of make the position description real. So this is just really the architecture and flows from the organizational chart that you approved on November 1. So that's the way I would think about the decision that's before you today. The decision that you're making today doesn't.
We're not finalizing. So Sean, I really appreciate this. So we're not
Yeah.
finalizing positions. We're not finalizing positions. Okay.
Correct. You're just creating the scaffolding for us to do the next important steps of either talking to the community about the candidate profile for the city administrator, collecting information from the service areas about the specific roles and duties for the deputy city administrators. But this kind of gives us the container in order to have those conversations by create the classifications, which are very broad brush, as I think Barb and Risa explained. Classifications are such that they're used by multiple bureaus. That's how the broad architecture of the classification. The specifics of the deputy city administrators and their roles and responsibilities, the specifics of the ideal candidate profile for the city administrator will come in future conversations.
Commissioner Rubio or Commissioner Gonzalez.
You know, Commissioner Rubio can go first. I've already asked a bunch, so
all right,
go ahead,
Commissioner Rubio.
Thank you, Commissioner Gonzalez. So I am generally in support of this. We had our questions answered, and I know this is just a classification to allow you to go to the next phase, right? And so we're just creating the space. I just do want to ask and follow up to Commissioner Gonzalez's point about pay scales for council staff and mayoral staff. Just is there going to be opportunity to really look at that and really assess the breadth and skill needed for those kinds of jobs? Because they don't compare to, like, you know, budget size or FTE. It's a different kind of load of work that is done. So just want to make sure that that's captured somewhere. And is there going to be an opportunity to look at that again?
I'll speak to that. Yes, absolutely. There is always opportunity to look at our classification and compensation structure. I can say that the class comp team did look at pay for the council aide senior, mayor aide, and mayor aide senior as well in the market. We did a national survey, and we did find that the current pay rates for 3 of those classifications, the city pays above the market average, and we found that for the mayor senior aide, the market paid above what the city currently pays the mayor senior aide. And so that is one adjustment that we have recommended for your approval today, is to adjust that pay range to reflect market.
Right, thank you, that's helpful.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Just to calibrate also, I kind of skipped over the big one on here is the city administrator range. And it feels like we've had some discussion about that, but was that largely market informed, or just to reiterate, I mean, you have comparable cities you could at least share that where they fell on that position?
Yes, absolutely. We can provide any detail that you'd like to request. We did do a national review of city administrator classification, so across the country, as well as looked at regional municipalities as well. So we looked at the city of Vancouver. Apologies for the delay. We looked at the city of Tacoma and the city of Vancouver were our regional comparators that we found matches for. We also found data from Las Vegas, Phoenix, Sacramento, San Jose, and again, Tacoma and Vancouver. And I just want to make note that, you know, we looked at all cities that have similar structures and, you know, within sort of a range of population size. However, not all of these cities had classifications that matched the duties of ours closely. So, you know, the data that we used is basically the data that is available and that exists. So I know some folks might question, you know, why didn't you use this particular city? You know, so we are limited by essentially, you know, what's available, what classifications are out there that do share the duties and responsibilities of our roles.
Got it. So would it be fair to say in summary, so for city administrator, we have pretty good market data that was an input here. For mayor's aide and senior mayor's aide, pretty good market data. It sounded like for the assistant city administrator, that was probably the most where we had to make some internal determinations on really how to weigh that one. And then that for the deputy city administrator, partially market informed, but partially trying to create some space between bureau directors in that position.
That's exactly right. Yeah, the assistant city administrator, we really couldn't find anything in the market that was comparable to our classification. And the deputy city administrator pay was based more on internal alignment than market. But again, we do strive to pay more, or at least the market average, and in all cases we were able to.
Got it. You know, I'm going to sit here and let Commissioner Ryan ask this question. I've got to ponder on the assistant and deputies a little bit, honestly. I want to think about that a little bit. I appreciate the answers you've given. I'm just digesting in real time as I process that. So the other positions here make sense to me, but and I'll leave it at that for the moment.
Commissioner Ryan.
Yeah, thank you. I just have one last question, and that is the budget office, Tim Grew, Director Grew, are they involved in these conversations before they come to the council?
That's not usually part of the process. And their role is as budget director. They're taking the inputs from the budget decisions that you make.
I would suggest, thank you for that honest answer. I would suggest going forward as we are in meetings about the budget, the challenges of our upcoming budget, as we're building the scaffolding, as you say, I think our process needs to be improved where we do crosswalk with the budget office. And I think the budget office in this presentation would have been really helpful today for me, getting this information with an emergency ordinance on it to just be more at ease with moving this along. So that would be a recommendation I would make going forward, please.
Yeah, your point's well taken. And I think that they're in the fiscal impact, you can see the reflection of the impacts to the budget. That's how we usually incorporate them. But thank you so much for that comment.
I would also like to add, just from a class comp perspective, When we think about the process of creating classifications, that is something very specific. It's industry specific to class comp. And so it is not very typical for budget departments to be involved before those structures are created. The role that central budget has played is in partnership with class comp and in partnership with bureaus at the city, so that once the actual positions are created and when pay rates are determined, then central budget office can review that, and they do have input, they do have approval on whether or not it is reasonable and fiscally responsible to move forward with what's being proposed. So the other thing I want to highlight is that on the slide that contained the final proposal with the pay ranges, it's notable that there's a minimum and a maximum. It is often most common that when positions are filled at the city, they're either filled at the point of entry or somewhere in between. It is very unusual for any candidate to step into a classification and be at top of class. So when you're looking at pay ranges, when you're considering staffing, we oftentimes set those pay ranges so that there is opportunity for qualified candidates to be hired within that range, and that there is a period of time or a runway that allows them the opportunity to progress and to obtain pay increases in the future based on whatever budget is set. So Commissioner Ryan, you are absolutely correct. Partnership, that is exactly what we do with the budget office. However, it is class comp that holds the responsibility and holds the base of knowledge to actually identify and create classifications.
You have this role, you become well-versed eventually on the technical process of any policy that needs to move along to implement the work. That said, I think the openness and the willingness to keep breaking down those silos where there is a really important crosswalk here between the building of the scaffolding and the budget implications. So I think we're in a unique moment in time to start implementing some new practices. That was the whole idea.
Great. Colleagues, any further discussion? Keelan, do we have public testimony on this item?
No one signed up.
Very good. This is an emergency ordinance. Colleagues, could you signal whether or not we should remove the well, we'll take the vote. I can always reconsider. Call the roll.
Maps,
Aye.
Rubio, Ryan,
Yeah, I will vote aye. I will support this. However, I wasn't really sold on why we needed to have the emergency ordinance today. I appreciate that some of my colleagues joined me in having some dialogue. I think the public deserved that. And so I realize we have authority going forward when we do bring in the budget office as we're building. I just hope as we go forward, we have more of a crosswalk approach when we receive items like this. Just makes it easier to support. I vote aye.
Gonzalez.
Mayor, I meant to ask about the possibility of approving part of this on emergency through amendment and part of it not. And I may circle back to that in a second. I do have my biggest trepidation on the assistant and deputy descriptions here. The color is helpful. But frankly, my trepidation is about those roles is more than in the context of determining their compensation. It's actually a deeper question about the level and amount of bureaucracy we're saddling the new form of government with. And so that's it transcends this specific question, the concern there. I think I'm going to vote no on this, but I would certainly be willing to vote on an amended package that approved the mayoral aides and the city administrator, just because they're well supported, it sounds like, by market data. But for now, I'll vote no on the whole thing.
Taylor,
I support this work, and I want to thank the transition team for their thoughtfulness in putting this together. So I support it, but for procedural reasons and for the purpose of reconsideration, I'm going to vote no. So the ordinance fails. Colleagues, I would like to move reconsideration of ordinance 1005. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Maps. Any further discussion on the reconsideration? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Maps,
Aye.
Ryan,
Aye.
Gonzalez,
Nay.
Taylor,
Aye. I appreciate the reconsideration. I'd like to move to remove the emergency clause from item 1005, currently an emergency ordinance. Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Maps. Any further any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Maps,
Aye.
Ryan,
Aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye. The emergency clause is removed. This is a first reading of a non-emergency ordinance. It moves to second reading. And Shoshana, could you get together with Commissioner Gonzalez's team and work through some of the questions that he still has outstanding? Colleagues, good questions. I appreciate the dialogue. Thank you. Next, item 1006, also an emergency ordinance.
authorized contract with Axon Enterprises Incorporated to purchase taser equipment and accessories not to exceed $3,400,000 for the initial term of 5 years.
Colleagues, this item outlines an important equipment need facing our police bureau, and it seeks approval to move forward with adequate replacements. Here today to tell us more about the current equipment and the importance of purchasing updated equipment is Portland Police Captain Franz Schoening. Welcome, Captain. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Commissioners. So we're here to talk about, again, the Axon Taser life cycle replacement project and the ordinance in front of you to authorize a sole source agreement or contract with Axon to replace our old tasers and get new ones. There has been some public interest in this, so in the interest of transparency and to provide a little additional context, I've got a very brief presentation for you to go through. Next slide, please. So the Bureau has a CEW program, a conducted electrical weapon program. We've been using CEWs since 2002, and we have been using Axon tasers for that entire time. Axon is the only company that produces a CEW suitable for the Police Bureau's use, and we'll talk about for a number of reasons why that is. Our most recent contract with Axon expired in April of 2023, so in order to move forward with the life cycle replacement of our current tasers, we need a new contract. The ordinance in front of council importantly does not commit the Bureau to any purchases or any specific budgetary outlays. It does authorize a sole source contract for up to $3.4 million over the next 5 years. The Bureau's got some internal business decisions to make about how we do the life cycle replacement, how fast we do it, and the scope of our CEW program. But this contract this ordinance would allow us to move forward with those discussions in a timely fashion. It is an emergency ordinance because the contract does need to be signed before the end of the year, not only to avoid some pricing increases that are scheduled with Axon, but also importantly because this needs to align with our body-worn camera project that is scheduled for full implementation next summer. In order for our tasers to be fully compatible with our body-worn cameras, we need to upgrade these tasers in order to get that equipment ordered and arrive and get it into hand and to train on the new tasers. We need to get this done before the end of the year, and that's why this is an emergency ordinance. Currently, all sworn members are issued a CEW. That contract cap of $3.4 million is necessary to cover the potential costs of a full transition over the next 5 years. Again, we're having internal conversations about how fast to do that and to what extent to do that. CEWs are one of a few less lethal force options available to Police Bureau members. Next slide, please. This is just a very quick snapshot of some force-related data regarding our CEW program. You can see over the last 3 years, from 2021 to current, we've used the CEW about 242 times. 169 of those times have been when dealing with armed subjects. So again, this is one tool we've got that is effective at de-escalating or getting control of folks who are armed and safely resolving incidents. Next slide, please. Our current model of taser, there's a picture of it there, is the Taser X2. Axon has discontinued production and sales of the Taser X2. Our current inventory of X2s, every year when our members come through in-service training, we update the firmware on the tasers. And what we're seeing is about 10 to 15% of our current X2s are encountering what they call a major error, where there's some data corruption present in the firmware of the device. For those tasers, we're not able to show correctly the correct date and time when we're using the tasers.
Yikes.
And there have been a very small number of critical errors where either the taser will not function or it won't capture any force data at all. And that force data is critical for us to accurately report force and to be compliant with the settlement agreement and our requirements there around force. We've had these tasers since 2015, so these are about 8 years old now. And ultimately, this is just proof that the platform is reaching the end of its life cycle and it needs to be replaced. Also important, the Taser X2s are not compatible with some of the features of our body-worn cameras. The next generation of tasers we'll talk about in a second. When you activate the taser, it does automatically activate the body-worn camera to get it to start recording. These tasers are not compatible with that unless we purchase an upgraded battery at $110 a piece. We've got a budget for that in the body-worn camera program, but it's just one more reason to transition to the new generation of tasers now to avoid that outlay that ultimately will be redundant. Next slide, please. So again, the replacement model is the Taser 7. That's after conversations with our subject matter experts here internally and also with Axon. This is the model of taser that they're recommending we move forward with. It is very analogous to the Taser X2. It functions the same way. It has the same properties. There are obviously software and firmware updates, some enhanced features. One of those is the Bluetooth compatibility, again, with our body-worn cameras, and also better ability to upload software and download data through the wireless docking feature. Next slide. And that was it. Any questions?
Very good, colleagues. Do we have public testimony on this item?
We do. We have 2 people signed up.
All right.
The first up, we have Mark Porras, Portland Copwatch.
Welcome.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Fantastic. Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Mark Porras. I use he, him pronouns. And with the group Portland Copwatch, the emergency ordinance before you today is a request from the Police Bureau to spend $3.4 million to update all the X2 model conducted energy weapons with Taser 7 model CEWs and accessories. Seems like just last week when we were here expressing concern around how Axon's figured out how to make a fortune by making cities feel like they have to equip every officer with gadgets that need continual updating. Actually, it was just last week. This brings the corporation's recent haul from the city to an even $6 million after council's approval of $2.6 million worth of Axon body cameras. The procurement analyst provided no written information about how many CEWs the Bureau currently has, which accessories they have, how often they're used on unarmed people, how often they malfunction, or how many community members have been accidentally zapped since 2002 when the Bureau first started using them. There's also no supporting data or reason given for choosing the Model 7 over the newer Model 10. This appears to be the third time in 20 years PPB's replacing all the CEWs, maybe in order to keep up with changing human electrocution technology, but more likely because Axon has a virtual monopoly on conducted energy weapons. Assuming the Bureau's purchasing tasers for all current sworn officers, Portlanders will be paying over $4,000 per officer to purchase the oldest model currently available through Axon that can support the use of the body-worn camera system. $3.4 million for a product that's already being replaced by Axon, and won't buying the older model just mean another upgrade will have to be done in the near future. Another way to look at the cost of these weapons is the expected cost per use. According to PPB's open data, CEWs have been fired 520 times since July of 2017. That comes out to 83 uses per year. $3.4 million contract being sold to you as a 5-year transition to the newer model. This comes out to $680,000 per year. All of that to say it costs taxpayers approximately $8,192 per use. According to a Reuters series titled Shock Tactics, which has data through the end of 2018, the number of people who died in the United States after being shocked by police with a taser, often in combination with other forms of force, was 1,081, including 13 people in Oregon. At least one of those deaths was in Portland, Timothy Grant, in 2006. Also in 2005, PPB caused the death of a pet pit bull by shocking it with one of the devices. Taser International, Axon's previous name, didn't even acknowledge that the weapons could kill until years after a jury awarded a California family over $5 million in 2008. In the most recent compliance officers report about the DOJ settlement agreement, they printed a story about a person who'd had 3 officers fire tasers at them simultaneously, which in theory is against PPB policy, but one officer's taser did not deploy. And the cops said their failure to alert each other by saying taser, taser, taser as they're trained is why the other 2 hit the person at the same time. The DOJ okayed the Bureau's policy in the past, saying that the use of more than one taser at a time is only against policy if it is intentional. For the person hit twice with 50,000 volts, the intent doesn't matter. The fact that the officers violated training, which led to an apparent policy violation, should have led to consequences, but none are indicated in the report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Dan Handelman, Portland Cop Watch.
Welcome, Dan.
Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. I hope you can hear me all right.
Yep.
My name is Dan Handelman. I use he, him pronouns. I'm also a member of Portland Cop Watch. I want to encourage council to listen to us for what we're actually saying instead of what you think we're saying, because our group is called Portland Cop Watch. We hope the city has been paying attention to the active litigation involving Axon. The city of Augusta, Maine, and New Jersey Township of Howell are separately suing Axon for artificially driving up the price of law enforcement equipment. These suits were filed in August and October of this year. The Bureau's policy of body-worn cameras requires that the tasers be capable of turning on cameras automatically when the officers take them out of their holsters. We have to ask, though, if the officers are required to activate their body-worn cameras when they are dispatched, self-dispatched, engaging with the public during a quote public order event, attempting to...
Mayor, that sounds like we have.
Yeah, Dan,
Sorry to
can we got a fire alarm in the building.
Yeah, we're gonna have to take a recess. We're in recess.
Yeah. So who pulled that because I was talking? That'd be very helpful, Mayor
Thank
Wheeler. Thank you.
Go ahead.
So you already know who I am, so I'll skip that part.
Thanks.
I was encouraging council to listen to us for what we're actually saying, because a lot of times I feel like we're not being listened to because of the name of our group, Portland Cop Watch. We hope the city's been paying attention to active litigation involving Axon. The city of Augusta, Maine, and New Jersey Township of Howell are separately suing Axon for artificially driving up the price of law enforcement equipment. They were filed in August and October this year. The Bureau's policy for body-worn cameras requires the tasers be capable of turning on when officers take them out of their holsters. So we wondered why, if the officers are required to activate their body-worn cameras when they are dispatched, self-dispatched, engaging with the public during a quote-unquote public order event, attempting to conduct a traffic or pedestrian stop, and conducting a search, why the cameras should therefore be on already, and there's no reason for the automatic activation. But then again, they might accidentally forget to turn them on, so maybe it's just as well. Perhaps one data point to collect is how often the cameras will be activated remotely versus when officers turn them on as required. We remind you that this item is only before you because it's sole source procurement and exceeds the chief procurement officer's authority threshold of $1 million. The use of tasers was one of the key reasons the DOJ found the city was using excessive force in 2012. Investing in more of these weapons that feel like torture and can kill people is not an acceptable use of taxpayer dollars. As a follow-up to last week's hearing, we were unable to find any information about the results of the body-worn camera pilot program in BuySpeed, as mentioned by another community member in their testimony. We're still asking that the city release the results of that pilot project to the public, along with the criteria used to judge their effectiveness and who sat on the evaluating committee. We should not have to waste our scarce resources at our tiny all-volunteer nonprofit filing a public records request for information on the much-touted body cameras. This also leads to the question of whether the tasers used by officers during the pilot program were loaners of the same model that are being authorized for purchase, and if so, whether the pairing of tasers and the body cams with automatic camera activation was necessary during that time. So long as the PPB does have tasers, it's important to note that for a brief time, the pointing of the device's laser sight was considered a use of force in the same way that pointing a firearm is. But Chief Rosie Sizer decided to discontinue that policy because no other agency was doing it, rather than taking the lead for the rest of the country. When you see that red dot show up on your chest, that's a threat to your safety. If unholstering tasers triggers a body cam recording, that indicates the policy should be reinstated to report aiming the tasers as a use of force. And we're not here for another lecture about how the perfect is the enemy of the good. Anyone who's ever suffered a tasering, including local reporters, officers who voluntarily received zaps and were injured, and the hundreds of people who have died following taser use, will let you know that these are not good weapons. Is it preferable to being shot? Perhaps, but maybe a better solution is to find nonviolent ways to resolve confrontation. I'll just wrap up by saying it sounds like if you buy the batteries and replace some of the failing older equipment, you can save a lot of money. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, and sorry about the interruption. We had a fire drill here at City Hall. Does that complete public testimony, Keelan?
Does.
Very good. Colleagues, any questions? This is an emergency ordinance. Please call the roll.
Maps.
Aye.
Ryan.
I really appreciate the testimony. I will vote aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye, the ordinance is adopted. So colleagues, where we are right now is at 1007. We have It looks like in terms of emergency ordinances, we have 1009, 1010, and 1011. Commissioner Maps, it sounds like you have a relatively quick one. Is that correct? Because here's the options. I need to leave like in the next 2 minutes. I have a press conference. However, we will then not have a quorum for these emergency ones. So I'd propose we go forward with Commissioner Maps, and then let's refer the rest to 2 p.m. this afternoon. Unless somebody has a better idea. I'm getting thumbs up. Renee, is that okay with you?
The only we may have, let me coordinate on testimony. I think voting on it too is fine. I just need to, we do have testimony for that.
Which one?
And for the chat matter, which is
okay. So then maybe, because I'm gonna turn the gavel over to Commissioner Ryan. We'll go ahead and do Commissioner Maps right now before I leave. I'll turn the gavel to Commissioner Ryan. Commissioner Ryan, what you could do is if we have testimony lined up, you can call the item, hear the item, take the testimony, and then just continue it to 2 p.m. Unless legal counsel.
Well, I think we should give them the choice. If they want to come back when the full council's here, they can do that in the afternoon.
Good.
So we should give them a choice. Yeah.
Good. For right now, let's do
the city attorney is nodding their head. Okay.
Good. 1009.
Okay, Keelan. Please call the item.
Amend intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation for the Jade and Montevilla Multimodal Improvements Project.
Great. And my understanding, Commissioner Maps, that we had a little bit of a snafu. Last week, we amended the ordinance to update the total project amount in finding number 4. Commissioner Maps moved and I seconded the motion. However, it had been a long day and we forgot to actually take the vote on the amendment. So at this time, I'll ask, is there any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, Keelan, please call a roll on the amendment.
Maps.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye. The amendment passes. Now, Commissioner Maps, it's my understanding you'd like to add an emergency clause. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, colleagues, because this has been delayed through some technical issues. If everyone's amenable, I'd like to move to make this an emergency ordinance so we can move forward with accepting these dollars from the state and installing this important infrastructure improvements in the Jade District and the Montevilla neighborhoods.
I second that.
Commissioner Ryan seconds. Any further discussion? Call the roll on the amendment.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Aye. So the emergency clause is now attached. Now do we have to vote on the ordinance as amended? I think we do.
Yeah.
All right. Call the roll, please.
Maps.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye. The ordinance is adopted as amended. Thank you, everybody. Commissioner Ryan, I'm turning the gavel over to your able hands. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. All right, colleagues. Keelan, will you need to read the next item and go really slow on what the number is since we've been bouncing around so much? Yeah.
All right, the next item is 1010, and that is an emergency. We'll read the title and then we'll continue it to the second. Okay, great. Authorized subrecipient contract with Network for Oregon Affordable Housing for $5,153,525 for the provision of grants in support of land acquisitions for affordable housing development.
Thank you, Keelan. And colleagues, as you know, this is an emergency item and we don't have the proper numbers for that. Keelan, did we have public testimony for this item?
No.
Okay, so we will move this to the afternoon agenda at 2 o'clock. Let's read the next item, please. 1011.
Accept and appropriate a grant from Care Oregon Incorporated to expand the Community Health Assess and Treat Program for $2,600,000.
Thank you, Keelan. Similar to 1010, we don't have the numbers to do the emergency vote. But if we do have people here to testify on this item or present on this item, I think it's only fair that we give you the choice if you'd like to do that now or come back shortly after 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Commissioner Ryan, would it be okay if I believe, and I'll pose this question to Chief Sullivan, that it'd be ideal that we do our testimony now?
Okay.
But
that's your call, Commissioner. You oversee this, and I think that's great. So the three of us will listen to the testimony. Thank you for your time and your patience. And we will go ahead and listen to public testimony, but then be voting on it this afternoon. Correct? Can we do that?
Just a quick point of
Oh,
clarification.
no, this is just the presentation, not public testimony. Right. But I know that we have to ask the public testimony if what their choice is. Okay. All right, Commissioner Gonzalez, take it away.
Well, it is my incredible honor to introduce this today. This is the extension of a Care Oregon financial support to our chat program. As a reminder, this is our low acuity medical program operated within the Community Health Division of Portland Fire. It is originally instituted to help alleviate the medical system of some of our low acuity medical volume. And it's very much paramedic and medically driven under the direction of EMS. It's doing fantastic things in our community and alleviating the system, and has more to come in the coming year. With that, I'm going to turn over to Chief Sullivan, who oversees our Community Health Division. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Stephanie Sullivan, the Acting Deputy Chief of Community Health, and I'm here to request that Council accept and appropriate a grant from Care Oregon to fund the Community Health Assess and Treat program, CHAT program. This amendment would add $2.6 million to the grant and fund 16.5 limited term FTEs and a half regular FTE through September 20th, 2024. And there's no impact to the general fund and no match requirement. So if there's no questions about our fiscal impact of this program, of this grant, I'd actually like to turn it over to Graciela Shover, who is a chat responder, and her client, Jack Smith. Chat has helped Jack transition from homelessness underneath the Burnside Bridge to the Mission Shelter for 9 months, and then to the Clinton Triangle Temporary Alternative Shelter, and then to his own apartment. Jack is an example of the compassion and the strategic wraparound services that chat can provide to help people in need get back on their proverbial feet. Graciela has been personally instrumental in helping Jack through his steps towards stability. And now I'd actually like to have Jack and Graciela share their story.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Graciela Shover. I'm part of the chat team. I am a community health worker by trade, also a medical interpreter. I work in the health system for many years, OHSU, Project Access Now, Legacy. So I have a vast knowledge in terms of how to help our people to navigate the system and the health system mostly, and also in terms of housing and determining the social determinants of health that perhaps, you know, I saw in Jack here that was struggling, that he didn't have a stable housing. So I worked with him, and when he was at the mission, I transferred him into the Bridge Village, and now he has his own apartment, and he is very happy that that referral chat, that our paramedic referred that to me, and we worked for a couple months before being able to find him a place where he is. So here's Jack. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jack Smith. I, at a point in time, had lost hope in my life while going through things in the street, waking up underneath a bridge every morning with water falling on my face. Graciela pulled me out of the absolute dumps and saved my life. Mind you, I'm willing to make changes. This is something that would help many more people who could use to get off of the streets and not be at war with life and pain and struggling. Without Kyle and Graciela from the fire department to come and save my life, I would not be in my own apartment. This is my first ever place of my own, and I could never repay them for this. This is an amazing program, and it can provide a lot of people help. So thank you all so much. God bless.
Thank you all for listening today. I really appreciate the time, and
Just here for any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, Graciela and Jack. Commissioner Gonzalez, anything else in terms of your presentation you'd like to present this time? Do you have more to present, Commissioner Gonzalez? I think you're on mute now.
Chief Sullivan, do you mind just teeing up what's on deck for chat in the coming year at a high level?
Sure. We are working on a buprenorphine pilot, which is going to be coming up here in first quarter of next year. And that's a pilot that's going to be providing some medication-assisted addiction treatment services to those who are addicted to fentanyl, and will be helping getting people with this wraparound services into treatment and to other facilities for their ongoing care. So that's our big thing that we have expanding here.
Fantastic. With that, Commissioner Ryan, that ends our presentation for now, absent there being any questions. And I just want to so appreciate Jack for being available today and telling your story.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Commissioner. So, Kaylin, why don't we do this? Is there any public testimony?
No one signed up.
Colleagues, any questions of this those that showed up and were patient with this presentation? If not, I have one, but Commissioner Maps, no? I just want to say thank you again, Jack, for being here. It's really, we're moved by stories, we learned by stories, and so I appreciate that your presentation had stories that we could all relate to and focus on. I want to ask this. There's Portland Street Response, there's chat, and I think sometimes the public gets confused on the distinction between the two. Why don't we use this opportunity to make to provide some distinctions?
Sure. The Portland Street Response is our behavioral health team. So our Portland Street Response responds to calls for people that are in crisis in the field. They may be a down and out check, they may be a welfare check, they may be somebody who is acting erratically on the streets. They may also have a low acuity healthcare need as well. Our chat team, they respond to low acuity healthcare needs. So the chat team this year has diverted about 45% of the calls from the emergency department. So they're able to go out into the field and treat people and assess them and treat them in the field and keep them out of the healthcare system, keep them out of the ambulances, keep them out of the emergency rooms. And then we'll have that overdose response team responding to them as well. But both teams, both Portland Street Response and the chat teams, both of them have an aftercare team, which is what Graciela is part of. And that aftercare team provides these wraparound services because though they may be low acuity medical needs or a lower acuity mental health need or behavioral health need, they have very complicated healthcare systems because of complications with either lack of shelter, lack of primary care physicians, and both of the programs will help get people services they need or get them enrolled in Medicaid or in Care Oregon or in some other sort of insurance program. But the main difference is the low acuity medical and then the behavioral health component.
That was very helpful, yet there's so many similarities, right? What I just listened to. And with Jack's story, there's a behavioral health component to it with most people that are out there. So how is the coordination between the two first responder systems? How is the coordination between the two?
Yeah, so with because the two programs work side by side in parallel, they communicate with each other daily. These aftercare teams also have a nurse triage and care coordinator that works for CHAP, but works also with Portland Street Response. So the whole program is under the umbrella of community health. So program managers work directly with each other. The aftercare teams work directly with each other. They're often the same clients. And so they communicate back and forth about what kind of needs they have and who is going to be providing those wraparound services, what connections need to be made. We'll often bring peers from Portland Street Response, from those who have the lived experience with chat, to the low acuity just for some more experience there and somebody who's been through the process.
That's helpful. And the hearing, did you say 45% that you were this action, this service has kept ER visits down by that percent? Is that what you're
For
saying?
what chat has responded to.
Yes.
So for what
Okay.
chat has responded to, yes, absolutely. So that's one of the primary missions of chat is to lower the actual healthcare costs for the community. Because if we can keep people out of the emergency room for these low acuity medical needs, then we can lower the healthcare cost for everybody. And we can improve our emergency rooms. We can improve the number of ambulances that are available to actually take people with true medical emergencies to the hospital.
And I'll just do this with being the person who brought the shelter system, alternative shelter system to the marketplace with services in the villages and now the larger villages. What I've really been, I'd say, not completely shocked, but still it's a little mind-blowing, is how many people on our streets are not hooked into any system. We don't have them in the system. There's no social security. They're not able to engage with these services. And so I know at the village sites, it's really is a rest stop to try to get somebody safe and hooked into the systems of, like the mayor said earlier, in communication with case managers. Do you have that same system approach where you discover that someone just isn't connected to public systems? Yeah.
And that's where Graciela, go ahead, Graciela, let you talk about
Hey,
that.
Graciela, yeah.
So when our chat team responds, normally it's for low acuity medical. So they check the patient and they talk and what's going on. Sometimes they're not enrolled in OHP. So I'm also a certified OHP assessor with the marketplace and Oregon Health Plan. So we start to screen them for OHP. So then we are able to help them with the health insurance. And then after that, what we do is we basically try to make a PCP appointment. So because most of the people that go to emergency urgent care is because they don't go to their primary doctors. So everything we refer to that area, to the PCPs, and then we work within that system with the PCP, what it needs to be diagnosed properly for the patient accordingly. Then we try to place them in the shelter. So we have also the collaboration with the shelters. So we call the shelter access, and then we put them into places. And then after that, we ended up going to the apartments where they qualified to apply for apartments. So we advocate for them in the medical field, in the apartment. And also we do social support, social and emotional support to our clients. And that's really important for them to overcome their barriers, because once they're living in the street, it's very hard to build a trust. So for me to build trust with my client, I tell them I'll be there 10 o'clock. I have to be there at 10 o'clock. So education, a lot of knowledge, and not only the homeless population, also the high utilizers, elder people that are trapped with Medicare, Medicaid. They don't understand the system.
Yes.
And that's what I also handling now. And I help them to understand the coordination of benefits, the premium, copay, co-insurance, all that. So chat is a amazing team.
Yeah.
You guys need to support us.
They have helped me with my entire life. They have helped me get my entire life to where I only could have dreamed of being a grown man living in my dream city. So
I love it. Well, Commissioner Gonzalez, next time we meet with our friend Eric Hunter at Care Oregon, we should definitely have Jack in the room. I really want to say that I appreciate you. I see you, and since you were here, I wanted to get these questions out why we had your presence. I'm assuming that one of the biggest frustrations is where you take somebody after you've done your amazing triage work and your level setting intake work. And so is that true? Is it challenging to know where to take someone after you do your care? And I'm now back to when people are homeless, not when you see elders in their apartments and such. But anyway, let me listen to what you have to say on that.
it's very challenging that, I mean, I wish it would be a dream for me, for example, when I meet somebody after, the follow-up, the child respond and I go and they're in their tent, they're in the road, I just helped another patient the other day that his leg could not heal because he's in this tent and is getting infected over and over. I advocate with the provider to approaches you to get a hotel, but the hotel is only for 10 days, but after that, where he's gonna go. So it would be great for us to have a shelter access, probably on demand, I would say, I need a shelter, okay, bring it here. I mean, the transition project is good into that they give us, but then some people, they have issues going in those shelters. They want to be more isolated. They want to be like they have their own space, even if it's a small box, probably their own private spot. So that would be a dream for me to have those access.
No, I so appreciate, when we, as a builder of noticing what the gaps were, and we're just getting started on shelter with services. People did want to go to the congregate shelters without services because there really wasn't anything there that attracted them. So as we keep building the improved system from streets to stability, dialogue with professionals like you is so important. And our partners in this is, of course, with the county. And so more on that, but it just helps when we take some time to look at the components of that system that we're building. And I really appreciate your good work. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Commissioner Gonzalez, is that it? And then we'll just come back and vote this afternoon. And Commissioner Gonzalez right now is thanking everybody, and no one can hear him.
Sorry,
Yeah.
the whole mute button thing. I was just Chief Sullivan and Jack and Graciela for being here. We'll come back and address in more detail when we vote this afternoon, but thanks again.
All right. Thanks so much. Keelan, let's call the next item.
I'm going to circle back to 1007 and 1008.
Thank you for doing that.
Great, thank you.
1007, 100. Please read the items. Thanks.
Declare as surplus city-owned property at 3737 North Emerson Street and adjacent recreational lot and authorize a public sale of the property.
Great. Why don't we have Commissioner Maps tell us what we're doing with this? Yeah.
Presiding officer Ryan, I'm going to pull this one back to my office.
All right, sounds good. Please read 1008.
Replace sewer user charges code to streamline and align with rate study recommendations.
Okay.
Second reading.
This is a I just let me have a chance to find where we were. This is a second reading. We had testimony last week, and so Keelan, please call the roll.
Colleagues, it has been 18 years since the last time the city of Portland has conducted a rate study. That is far too long. Getting the study done is a major step towards better government. I want to thank everyone who helped us get to this point today, especially our staff over at the Bureau of Environmental Services. And I also want to thank the members of the public and the private sector who helped shape this ordinance. For these reasons and more, I vote aye.
Gonzalez. You're muted, Commissioner.
I just want to thank Commissioner Maps and his team for their leadership on this. This is a complex topic devoted to getting more equitable rates in the city of Portland. I think we need to do this more often, as Commissioner Maps has noted. We took some steps towards a more balanced and more equitable rate structure, and appreciate the work here and the response to some of our seniors who would have potentially been negatively impacted under the original proposal. So I appreciate the work here. I vote aye.
Ryan.
Yeah, I want to thank Commissioner Maps as well, having taken on a few items where it was, let's just say, negligent that we hadn't got in and modernized, made it current. It always is wrought with some challenges, and you start to wonder why this wasn't done for years and years. So anyway, I appreciate the doing the good work of government, and I thought the testimony was really riveting, and I am happy to vote aye. This item passes, and let's move on and call the next item.
Item 1012, amend elections code to align with the amended city charter approved by voters in Portland Measure 26-228.
Okay, this is a first reading, correct? Yeah, and do we have the Madam Auditor here?
I'm here with you today, Commissioner
hello,
Ryan.
Louise.
This is
Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Louise Hanson, the City Elections Officer. So,
And this is a first reading, so go ahead. The floor is yours, Louise, to educate us on this item.
okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Ryan. Good afternoon again, Commissioners. Today, the Elections Office brings forward several amendments to City Code chapters involving elections regulations. The primary purpose is to provide historical updates and align elections practices with the new form of government and city charter. Exhibit A, B, and C include the amendments throughout that were made for clarity, to better align with state law, and for ease of administration. As you may recall, City Council adopted some substantive amendments to Code Chapter 2.08, which was for the election of candidates in April. And those sweeping changes reflect the city's method of electing candidates with the ranked choice voting as required by the city charter. So today's changes put forth minor adjustments that will become effective also January 1st of 2025 to align both with the updated election of candidates chapter that was adopted and with the larger transition policies that council has already passed, such as council organization and procedure. So the auditor's office worked in conjunction with the city attorney's office over the past several months to review and propose these amendments that streamline and provide clear and updated language for transparent administration of elections in 2025 and beyond. I'd like to briefly discuss each code chapter's primary amendments. All of the code sections have been amended to conform with the January 2025 government transition, first and foremost. In addition to that, there were some amendments made to City Code Chapter 2.02 entitled General Provisions. It's amended to make clear and consistent definitions. The biggest proposed changes are removing references to primary candidate elections and adding language to reflect already adopted vacancy and recall procedures. In City Code Chapter 2.04, which is entitled Petition and Measure Procedures, that part is amended to modernize references and practices related to petition filings and signature and cover sheets. The biggest proposed changes relate to clarifying explanatory statement procedures recommended by state law, streamlining measure adoption dates for consistency, and adding references to new council committees and roles where appropriate. The new council committee references were added in consultation with the city attorney's office to align with the recently revised Chapter 3.02 on council organization and procedure, which now includes council committees. Importantly, as written, council committees have the same authority as an elected official to place an item on the council agenda, but in order to qualify to the ballot, a vote from the full city council would still be required. So I just wanted to highlight that. Lastly, we also made some proposed amendments to City Code Chapter 2.14, which is the reporting by political consultants. That part is amended to clarify requirements for appointed officials and make some technical changes related to disclosures by political consultants. The primary changes relate to clarifying requirements for when reports must be made after an election or a succession to office, and correcting a reference related to disclosures by political consultants for services related to city referred measures. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Louise. Keelan, do we have any public testimony on this item?
We had one person signed up, David Chen, but I don't believe they've joined us.
Okay, if they join, let's go ahead and listen to that. In the meantime, it's opening up to council colleagues for questions, and Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, and thank you for the overview here. So I'm just walking through Exhibit A, pretty general in eliminating references to the two separate elections. Anything else substantive in that Exhibit A that I don't see much here, but just want to make sure I'm tracing. And this is chapter. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's mostly just small technical edits. I'm just skimming myself just to make sure there's no, it's that is pretty much the most substantive part.
And that was my quick read. I just want to make sure I was getting the flavor correct. I think with respect to Exhibit B, you made a reference to referral over, and I think we got some public comments on that question. Can you point to me the language that would require the actual referral be approved by the full council? I just wanted to make sure I followed your logic, because it sounded like you were responding to some of the comments we got as well. And the fundamental concern is whether committees could refer to voters directly or not. And I just wanted to make sure I was following your logic as drafted.
So the part that addresses committees is, I believe, in the code portion that was adopted under 3.02. And I believe that city council is here in case there were questions about city council committees. So I'm going to go ahead and see if one of them would like to help respond.
And just to be crystal clear, my question is rather narrow, just the actual power to refer a matter to voters. Can the committee do that? Can a committee do that directly, or is it required to go to the full council before the referral? And just wanted to follow the language in the proposed language to make sure I was mapping it correctly.
Commissioner Gonzalez, Maya is on the call, but she's giving me some notes. If she can join, I'll let her, but she's having a little connectivity issues. Maya, are you able to respond to that?
Who are you asking?
The city attorney who's working on this matter, but it looks like she's having connectivity issues. So I can answer that question, Commissioner Gonzalez. The amendment does not authorize the council committee to forward a measure to the voters. Only the full council has authority to place a measure on the ballot.
And so the committee has then the ability to consult with the city attorney, potentially draft the referendum, but the mechanics for referral still sits in the full council is your read.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Okay. And maybe after so this is first reading. Are we doing this on okay, so maybe just this week and when we actually vote, if someone could just walk my team through that, the basis of that interpretation, I appreciate it. And then the last question on Exhibit C, these are our political consultant reporting obligations in Chapter 14. Has there been any recent discussion that you all are aware of about updating this at a more fundamental level to reflect any changes in the state law that have occurred since this was originally approved in 2016? And the basis for the question is really, we have some shifts that have occurred at the state level, ongoing discussions in these areas. I continue to ponder whether sort of duplicate reporting obligations at the city level are really achieving their ends if when sometimes there's separate compliance obligations at the state level that carries over from ethics to campaign finance and frankly the spirit of Chapter 2.14. I recognize that your scope here was to update this with respect to what is mandated by charter reform. I totally get that. I follow that. I'm just curious, has there been recent discussions about whether, what purpose is Chapter 2.14 serving under, in 2023, and does it still make sense? What problems is it trying to solve? And just welcome your thoughts on that, recognizing you were not the architects of the original 2016 ordinance that put it in place.
I mean, that was council policy, so I don't really have much to comment on that. The edits that we made were just very narrow in scope to align with the original intent of that council policy. Our role is just the implementation.
Totally got it. I didn't know the city attorney, looks like Commissioner Ryan, it looks like city attorney may have some comments there.
Yep, go ahead, Lindley. It's good to see you.
I apologize, Commissioner Gonzalez. I am actually commenting on your prior just to save some.
Okay.
That's all right. If you look at 2.04040, which is Exhibit B, there's existing language right now that says a measure may be submitted to the legal voters of the city by resolution of the council. So it is clear that only the council submits a measure, and that's current practice, and it will continue.
And I'm sorry, could you give me that citation real quick, just so you're in 2.04040, and then what was the subsection?
A1.
Got it. Measure may be submitted to legal vote of the city by resolution of the council. Okay, thank you. Got it.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay, but I don't know if we want you to leave. Who's going to answer the other question? Didn't you have another question, Commissioner Gonzalez, that legal is going to answer?
Yeah, and honestly, I think Ms. Hanson essentially answered it. I mean, there is this broader conversation about well-intentioned things that have shown up in our code. To a certain extent, it's in our charter that we're trying to solve problems of a particular point in time. Sometimes filling gaps in state law or perceived gaps at the time in state law, and the ground on which they were built maybe has shifted since then. And where do we create space to reevaluate some of those things where it creates duplicate, sometimes internally conflicting obligations? And so that's a broader conversation. I think Ms. Hanson answered my question. They were scoped with updating this to execute on charter reform, and I don't see anything in what they've drafted that's problematic with that in mind.
So then you have any more questions, Commissioner?
I'm all good. Thank you.
All right. I actually have, I want to make sure I heard you right, Ms. Hanson. When you mentioned, here's my question. So right now in our current form of government, advocates, lobbyists from the nonprofit sector and corporate sector come to us quite frequently, or have come to us over the years, and we report that to you when they come. Are you saying that now, do bureau directors and bureaucratic leaders have the same transparent reporting?
As far as the reporting requirements, the updates to this portion of the code was just about the political consultant side of the reporting requirements.
Political consultant, not the lobbying. Okay.
Yeah. So when it comes to the political consulting reporting requirements, it's only elected officials or ones who fill vacancies by appointments now that may have to report that information, and political consultants themselves would need to register with the city as well. So that was the only thing included in the scope of these particular amendments.
Okay, I'd like to reach out to your office to discuss with the transition. There's going to be more activity with the city manager and the executive team and the bureaus. And I think to have transparent government that I believe the Charter Commission cared about is to make sure that we have that transparency in reporting at that level as well. I'm interested in that. I'm not making an amendment right now. I'm not saying that we need to vote on this at this moment, but because we've had this conversation, it allowed me to think about that. Have you had conversations with the Charter Commission and the transition team about such things yet? Bringing in the bureaucratic leadership into the fold in terms of the same guidelines that we as the current commissioners who also have executive authority over bureaus, now we're going to have that removed from city council. So I suspect there'll be more of that attention going to the staffing leaders in our administration. So I think we need to have conversations about having that type of transparency as we go forward to our new adopted form of government.
I'm sure we welcome that conversation, Commissioner Ryan, in our office. We're definitely waiting to learn more about the structure of our new city government.
That's why we're doing this all building in real time. So that's why we have to seize these moments in dialogue. I see that Commissioner Gonzalez's hand is up. Commissioner?
Well, just one last point there, Commissioner Ryan. I think you're dead on that this is something we have to flesh out, the movement of executive authority deeper into the bureaucracy. And again, the original purpose for why we these type of obligations, and certainly the lobbying provisions will have some similar considerations in addition. I think that's where you originally were going, but it's dead on right. Like the real executive administrative authority has been pushed really over to the city administrator and the team they're under. And the concerns about transparency and the sort of the political pressure that can be put at that level applies most certainly here as an area of concern, as well as the balancing of the compliance obligations and the reporting obligations, and whether we're getting the juice from the squeeze of the new obligations. And that's sort of the when we have a separate overlay of state law. And again, that's a broader comment that when do we revisit these things and rationalize where state law is adequate and what gaps, where problems we're really trying to solve. So I fully follow your point. What's the last question from Ms. Hanson then? So on the lobbying rules, when do we have we seen those yet? Or are those still on the plate to review, to update for charter reform implementation? I actually just don't remember.
Yeah, what we're anticipating right now is to bring those forward in the spring after more engagement with commissioners' offices.
Okay, I'm good now. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, this is a first reading. It moves on to a second reading. Thank you for your time, Ms. Hanson. And Keelan, any other items? Did we go through the agenda? It was bouncing all over the place, so we covered it all. All right, sounds good. We are going to take up again item 10, 11, correct, to vote on this afternoon, adding to the rest of the agenda.
Yeah.
Was there another item?
There are a couple of additional items that we'll vote on this afternoon.
Will you just read all of those for the good of the order? Yeah.
Yep. Let me make sure.
No, I have patience on this. I'm shuffling through too.
All right, I believe we're going to vote on 1006 this afternoon. We're going to vote on 1009, 1010, 1011.
All right, there's 4 items that we're adding to this afternoon's. Yeah, 1006, 1009, 1010, and 1011 are all going to be added to this afternoon's agenda. So we will have the appropriate number of voting members of the council. So that concludes this morning's session. We will you have something else to say, Keelan?
Yep, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. We voted on 1006.
Okay, good. So we have 3 items.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. 1009, 1010, and 1011. All right. And I suspect the mayor will want to take those up at the beginning of the 2 o'clock session. And we'll see you all soon at 2 o'clock. This morning meeting is adjourned. Bye.